And we're live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. We are here. It is Monday. Going hard in the paint, as you guys know. No breaks on the train. Got some stuff to talk about today. Going to be a little bit of a shorter show because obviously we got Fresh and Fit. We got a Money Monday for you guys. My property manager, Roger, guys, is he's basically he's got to handle some stuff for me because I just got a roof repaired on one of my properties, and he's kind of dealing with some legal mumbo jumbo with that. But the bright side is when he comes, which is probably going to be in about, maybe not next Monday, but the Monday after that, when he comes, it's going to be huge because we'll be able to talk about, you know, how to basically get some stuff done and repairs and all this stuff. So we got to, guys, it's going to probably be one of the best episodes on real estate by far on YouTube, because after, you know, several years of managing property, my guy Roger, as well as doing real estate deals, we are going to give you guys some of the mistakes that I made and we made as a team so that you guys don't make those mistakes. Okay, so it's going to be very informative, going to be very helpful for you guys. So that's what it is. And yeah, we are here early. We are on stream early today, guys. I know some of you guys are like, what the hell's going on here? But yeah. Gaz says, brother, I'm from the UK. What can I legally do to own a carry gun in the area? You're cooked, bro. In the USA, you're going to probably have to get a green card, dude. Only lawful permanent residents can carry guns. I don't think you could carry a gun here as a visa holder. You can go to a range and shoot and shit like that. But as far as like actually possessing a gun, you're going to need to have some type of permanent residency in the United States to be able to do it. So that's kind of where we're at with that one, my friend. So yeah, we're going to talk about Greenland. We're going to talk about Jerome Powell. We're going to talk about somebody. You guys sent me like a clip of me and Ethan Klein debating from a bit ago. So we'll break that shit down. It's actually crazy to me how stupid people are, where they think that people like Ethan Klein are actually intelligent when they're not. But you know, it is what it is. But yeah, we are here early, guys. We are here early. I'm thinking about starting the show somewhere between 7 to 7:30, because if we want to do Fresh and Fit at a decent hour, it might be better for me to start earlier so you guys get a bit more time on the show. And I never really go this early, as you guys could see here. A lot of you guys are like, what the hell's going on? But yes, we are on live early. Matter of fact, let me let everybody know that we're on. I'm going to go ahead and put a quick little announcement to everybody, because we are on a lot earlier than usual. Let me get give me 1 sec, ninjas. We will let all the people know that we are, in fact, live. Give me 1 sec, ninjas. When it's a one-man show, man, oh man, you just gotta do everything yourself, man. But it's cool. I've gotten pretty good with OBS now, which is a good thing. That's been super helpful. Better than most, I would say, especially compared to what I used to be able to do. I used to be like a StreamYard retard. Now, you know, we're way better with using OBS, which the thing about OBS that's good is that it's way more interactive and way more, you can make more things happen with it. You know what I'm saying, guys? So let's see here. Boom. Okay. Greenland. Sadia triggered. Powell response. And if we got time, I will go ahead and react to the debate with Pearl and Anna Kasparian as well. So, okay, let me just drop this shit in my story. Bam. Okay, let me read some chats, and then we're going to get this show on the road. All right. Thank you guys for being patient with me. And guys, also do me a favor. Smash the like button on your way in. Really appreciate that. That helps with the algorithm. As you guys know, we're demonetized on here. A lot of new people that probably aren't familiar with the content, but we've been going viral. So, yeah. Also, this week, guys, I am not going to be here. I'm going to try to see if I can give you guys a show on Wednesday, but I might not because I might be flying out that day to Michigan. As you guys know, I'm going to be at the University of Michigan this Thursday, the 15th at 12 o'clock. I'm going to be out there on campus debating. It's going to be freezing, but we're going to be out there anyway. No breaks on the train. It's going to be a good time. And then honestly, guys, I'm seriously weighing out going to Minneapolis since I'm already there. I'm seriously weighing taking a flight. Fucking what? 30. How far is Minneapolis from how far is Minneapolis from Detroit, bro? Can't be that far. A flight, yeah. So it's a 10-hour drive, but obviously if I fly, it's gonna be like an hour. So I might fly into Minneapolis and see what the fuck is going on. Give you guys some real-time footage on the ground. Going there with Uncensored America would be hilarious. Okay. So yeah, the flight can't be that long. Go there, set up a table. Some shit like that. People are going to lose their minds. So I'd obviously have to get security and shit like that, but it would be hilarious. I might, you know what I could do? I could set that shit up in front of the government building. Yo, what if I just set up a table right in front of the fucking government building, bro? I just did nothing wrong. Yo, that would be hilarious. Yeah, of course, guys. If I went out there, I'd obviously come with security. I'm not an idiot. Come on. I'm not that stupid. Okay, I'd obviously go with security. But, yeah, bro, I might set that shit up right in front of the government building, bro. That'll be hilarious. I just did nothing wrong. Prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because you know these fucking weirdos are going to lose their fucking minds, dude. You already know. You know, they're all triggered and everything else like that. So it would be, it would actually be pretty comical. But yeah, that's something I might do. I'm thinking about it. I am thinking about it, not going to lie to y'all. I am tempted, especially since I'm going to be in the Midwest already anyway, and I'm going to be freezing my balls off. So why not go there and just do it? Like Friday, we can be out there, live stream some of it or whatever. But yeah, I would anybody OSS 300 guys, if or if you're a member of the OSS, right? And you're in Minneapolis, I'll get with Brett and we'll figure out who the people are. You guys can all come out. You know what I mean? Strength in numbers. So all right. Okay, let's read some of these chats. Did you watch the pro debate with Anna? I didn't watch all of it. I saw like a little bit, but I might react to it on air with you guys. Abdul, hey, Myron, get top H in the back. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Top H book is up. Appreciate you. Thanks for reminding me, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and react to this clip here. A bunch of you guys sent me this shit on Instagram, bro. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me go ahead and react to this shit. I've been delaying this for a few days now. I just keep forgetting about it. But I don't know why the fuck when I click this link, it just doesn't fucking work. Give me 1 sec, ninjas. I don't know why Instagram is so fucking garbage. Instagram web is fucking trash, by the way. Absolutely fucking trash. Okay, let me try another browser. Give me 1 sec, ninjas. Okay. So let me go ahead and show y'all this bullshit right here. Okay, so this is a video that a couple of you guys sent to me, right? Apparently this chick doesn't say a word because as usual, women are retards like her.
Daddy websites as dating sites.
Yes.
And then you can
let's play it all the way through and I won't interrupt. Okay, we'll play it all the way through and then I'll give commentary after.
Sugar daddy websites as dating sites.
Yes.
And then you complain about women being shallow.
I never complained about women being shallow.
You say it's hard to find a good woman because they're motivated by material things and stuff, and yet you're seeking women specifically who are a certain type of woman, obviously, that would be on a sugar daddy website. It seems like you are confirming your biases by even going there to find women. You know what I mean? What? Sorry, Walter. You want me to say it again slower?
And unfortunately, in today's day and age, it's not that simple anymore. So we live in a very complex world where it's difficult to identify women that are marriage material, and most aren't.
You're 34, right, Myron?
Yes.
And do you plan on getting married someday?
Eventually, the nuclear family is the backbone to any thriving society.
Oh, thank you for saying that about me.
Good job, but a lot of guys don't have that ability to find a woman that's worthy.
You don't have that ability.
I don't have that ability?
You're not married.
That's by choice.
But no, the ability to find a woman, you clearly don't have that ability. If you guys' method is so good, why aren't you married?
Again, because men are the ones that decide if they want to get married. Choice.
So you choose not to be married.
So as you guys can see here, this is an example of like extremely deceptive editing, right? Deceptive editing that completely removes the context of the conversation, removes what the debate topic was, removes a lot of the nuances that were involved in this conversation, because obviously dating isn't 1 + 1 = 2, as people try to claim. And this is why talking to blue pill people is so fucking painful. And then this dumb bitch thinks that this is a W, right? Because this like I've said before, guys, for every one person that's like red pill aware of this bullshit, there's like 1,000 fucking blue pilled idiots like Ethan Klein. And women like this, right, look at this and think, oh, this is such an ode. Oh my God, I love this. And this is what I mean when I tell y'all, when people make videos on us and they talk shit about us, people don't watch that content creator for them. They watch that content creator because they hate us. I'm gonna say that again. When these idiots, right, talk shit about Myron Gaines and Fresh and Fit podcasts, etc., the people that tune into that content don't like that creator a lot of the times. They just don't like us. So anyone that's talking shit gets views. This is why, if you guys look, a lot of these YouTubers, if they don't talk about us, they don't get views. Simply put. So there's an entire economy of people that absolutely hate us. Liberals, feminists, Black Lives Matter movement. Basically, every progressive movement in America has a problem with us, right? So we have a lot of fucking haters, and that in itself is an audience, and they tune in just to see us get dunked on, or so they think, right? So in this clip, you guys could see, right, that clearly Ethan Klein mischaracterizes my position when it comes to this topic, okay? Completely mischaracterizes it. So let's go ahead and go through this now. Oh, and by the way, if you guys want to get involved in the show, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you want to send a super chat, whatever it may be, MyronGainesX.com. I went ahead and I pinned it. I got off of the service I used to use before. Now, when you donate $5 and up, it shows right up on screen. So if you guys want to get your chat shown on screen in red, $5 and up on there, or you guys could do Rumble Rants, or if you're on OSS, you can send in an OSS chat. But yeah, this is the most interactive live stream by far. So let's go through this shit.
The sugar daddy websites as dating sites.
Yes.
And then you...
Okay. Now let's talk about that. The reason why I tell men to use sugar sites, right, to date, is because, unfortunately, in a globalized sexual marketplace where women have more options than ever before, the only way you're really going to stand out is by not necessarily being like everybody else, right? A lot of you guys here understand this. Dating apps are basically futile for like 90% plus of men, okay? Even the top guys that look very good still get flaked on, still don't get dates. And women use dating apps a lot of the times to just bring up their ego, get validation, get attention, funnel people to their OnlyFans, funnel people to their Instagrams, etc. Okay? So in a marketplace where women use dating apps to simply siphon attention from men, right? What you need to do a lot of the times is you need to have like you have to have multiple points of contact. In sales, they say something along the lines of, you need to have 7 points of contact with a customer typically before they buy. Dealing with women is just like sales. So you might match with a girl on Tinder and Bumble in your city, but she won't actually respond or show up on a date. But then you'll see that same fucking chick on SA or Sugar Daddy Meet, whatever, and what's up happening is she'll be more amenable to meeting you. Why? Because women care more about how they meet you, right? Or under what circumstances they meet you a lot of times than meeting you. I'm going to say that again. Women put a lot of stake into how they meet you versus meeting you at all. I'll give you an example. Let's say, scenario one. You go to a coffee shop, you meet a girl, you know, you talk to her, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you, blah, 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 right? Talk to her there. Get her phone number, right? Scenario two. You're throwing a mansion party and you introduce yourself to the girl as one of the people that's throwing the party, etc., right? Introduce yourself. Option three. You meet a girl on a dating site, you got great pictures of yourself, you guys have a little bit of a conversation, whatever it may be, right? And you talk on Tinder or Bumble. Option four. You meet her through fucking, I don't know, some other means, mutual friends. Which scenario do you think is going to be the most likely to get her out on a date? I think we all know. It's going to be you meeting her at the mansion party and or yacht party or wherever there's more implied status. Okay? How you meet a woman matters a lot as to your success with said woman. Okay? Women aren't like us. You can meet a girl at the club and still be attracted to her, not care too much, right? If a woman meets you at a club, she's going to look at it like, okay, this ain't nothing serious. I'm going to flake, blah, blah, blah. This is why phone numbers that you close from night game always end up so fucking flaky. Okay? So dating apps, night game, cold approach, whatever, yes, they can all work. But the reality is every approach is going to have a low ROI. The highest ROIs are ones where you're hosting a party, you have some type of built-in status into the way that you meet her. Okay? I talked about this with Dan Bilzerian. One of the things that Dan Bilzerian used to do was he would throw parties and he would make sure the ratio was like 5-1, right? And it would be exclusive parties. Why? Because if you're able to be in a position to throw exclusive parties and there's not many men there, it creates way more implied status, whether you're good looking or not, right? A Chad can go into a fucking nightclub and get blown out, right? But an average dude that's like 5'10" can easily close at a mansion party with a bunch of baddies there. Well, what's the difference? The difference is implied status. And women respond extremely favorable to this. So when I dispense the advice that I say, look, you need to be on multiple dating apps and you need to also be on sugar sites, it's not because, oh yeah, let's go ahead and just, be mad at women for being materialistic, whatever. No, it's because I understand how women are, and I also understand that you need multiple points of contact, as well as you need to meet them under some type of paradigm, some type of environment that implies status. Okay? I wish it wasn't this way, but in a globalized sexual marketplace, this is where we are. That is why I say that. So obviously this idiot, Ethan Klein, mischaracterizes my position and tries to say, oh, you're complaining about women being materialistic while simultaneously going on dating sites. Sir, I never complain about women being materialistic. As a matter of fact, I actually encourage it. I encourage it. What do I tell you guys all the time on this show? All women are gold diggers, some are just better at hiding the shovel. What do I tell you guys on this show? I tell you need to be the primary breadwinner. What do I tell you guys on this show? She should never have to work. What do I tell you guys on this show? That you need to be the provider, protector, etc. That you have a masculine burner performance and your girl should not be working. I'm not angry at the fact that women are resource extractors. I just identify it and tell you guys that this is the new normal. And even though, right, we live in a feminized world, we live in a gynocracy, that doesn't mean that women aren't still a slave to their primitive and natural tendencies. And their natural tendencies, they want a guy that's gonna be a protector, provider. I've always been very transparent with you guys about this. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys that feminism is stupid, right? And then also tell you to split the bill with your girl. I'm extremely consistent on this. You want to be the boss, you want to be the man, you want to be the leader, that comes with fucking responsibility. And that responsibility is, if you want a woman to fully submit to you and follow you and do what she's supposed to do, she needs something to follow. You can't be a fucking loser. This is why I do the Money Mondays, despite the fact that it doesn't get that many views. This is why we still do the Womanizer Wednesdays and teach you guys how to navigate the new sexual marketplace, the new normal. This is why we do call-in shows and answer your guys' questions. This is why we have Castle Club and do Zoom calls with you guys, because things have changed drastically. The sexual marketplace of today is not the sexual marketplace of your father, your uncle, hell, even your older brother. If you've been out of the game for 5 years, you're still lost.
Welcome, launch.
That's how much things have changed. Right? So when Ethan Klein says some dumb shit like this and totally mischaracterizes my position, he's trying to imply that I'm saying women are materialistic and that's bad. No, I understand that's how they are. I've been saying this for literally years. And what I say is, since women aren't going to change and this is the way that they are, you need to put yourself in a position where you're the authority. And to be the authority, you need to lead. To lead, you need to lead by example. By leading by example, that means you take care of all the fucking bills and you protect and provide for her. But that comes at a caveat. That comes at her being put through her paces and qualifying for that type of treatment. Not every girl deserves that type of treatment. Okay? So, again, this is what Ethan Klein does all the time because he's stupid and he mischaracterizes positions, right? And obviously this edit is extremely deceptive. It doesn't show the full context of the conversation. And this dumb bimbo over here, thinks that this is her own, which is not. And she doesn't say a word because she's stupid.
Complain about women being shallow.
I never complain about women.
Exactly. I never do. I just acknowledge the biological reality that they are. Because, and the reason why I say this is because we live in a world where we try to sit there and say, oh yeah, men are shallow. No, they're not. Men are far less shallow than women are. If we're going to go into like a paradigm of what each gender finds attractive, right? If we were to take like a list of things that disqualify women versus a list that disqualifies men, right? What women are attracted to is far narrower than they want to let on for the public to know. Let me be explicitly clear about this. What women are attracted to, what women want, is far slimmer than what men want. But then society, mainstream society, sits there and tells people that men are more shallow than women. That's not true at all. A majority of men will absolutely settle for a majority of women. However, a majority of women will absolutely not settle for a majority of men. That's the difference. Okay? So I don't complain about women being shallow. I tell the truth that they are shallow and men need to deal with the new normal. This is why guys need to have their shit together in every single way. If you look like Ethan Klein, you're going to have a bad time. And it's funny that Ethan Klein is talking about this shit because he had to go international to find his bitch. His wife ain't American. She's Israeli. So I find it interesting that he's over here trying to criticize me for telling men how to deal with the new normal in the West. Meanwhile, he got a foreign bitch. Let's carry on.
You say it's hard to find a good woman because they're motivated by material things and stuff, and yet you're...
No, it's hard to find a good woman, not because they're motivated by material. All women are motivated by that. The reason why it's hard is because most women simply don't qualify and or deserve the quality of men they think that they deserve, and their standards are too fucking high. That's the issue. Women do not have the credit or the sexual market value to demand what they demand from men. That's the issue. We got women that are fucking 3s thinking that they deserve men that are 9s on the sexual market value scale. That's the problem. And this is why more and more of them are single than ever before.
Seeking women specifically who are a certain type of woman, obviously, that would be on a sugar daddy website.
Okay, so here's the other thing too, misconception, right? There's lots of regular women on sugar sites, guys. I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's lots of thoughts on there, absolutely. On sugar sites, there's lots of thoughts, but you guys want to know something else? There's lots of regular girls on there and lots of professional women on there, okay? A big reason why women will go on SA or one of these sites is they want to screen out brokies. The number one problem that women deal with when they go out dating, a lot of times because I've done this on self-surveys and all this other shit when I ask them, two main things. Number one, men's hygiene is bad and they're extremely unkempt. And then the other thing is that a lot of guys don't have financial responsibility skills. They're brokies, right? And women out-earn men in a lot of places. So what girls do to get rid of brokies, because they care about money, like I said before, is they'll go on SA to automatically remove a majority of the brokies that are on Tinder, Bumble, etc. Okay? Because they're six-figure earners themselves. Lots of women on the sites, and anyone that uses it will tell you that. Now, am I saying you got to wipe these girls? No. You still got to fucking meticulously vet them and everything else like that. But it is a realm for you to source. I tell you guys all the fucking time, source women from everywhere. Night game, day game, social circle game, sugar sites, dating apps, Instagram. Literally use it all. It's a numbers game. You got to cast out a wide fucking net. Okay? You got to get more leads in. It's sales. That's all it is fucking sales. Okay? And the reason why I tell you guys to supplement dating apps with sugar sites is because I know for a fact a lot of girls that are on like Tinder, Bumble, whatever, they'll also be on sugar sites. So that increases your chances of getting the date. The biggest issue here when it comes to modern dating is this. Let's deal with the fucking elephant in the room. Why is dating so bad for men? I'll tell you why. It comes down to this one word. Flakiness. I'm going to say that again. This is what old dudes that have been out the game have no fucking idea about. The biggest issue that plagues modern men when it comes to dating women and trying to court women to go out with them, okay, is flakiness. That is the biggest fucking problem in modern dating for men. Flakiness. And that flakiness is directly attributed to the level of options and the sheer volume of options that women have. Why the fuck would you go and get with a guy that's on your level or equivalent to you to some degree, or maybe only just a point up, when you got NBA players sliding in your DMs? Why the fuck would you go out with a guy that's a good dude, nice, polite, has a good family? Why would you go out with him when a rapper's offering to fly you out? I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If any of you have a female friend, God forbid, but if you do, might as well put her to use, or a sister or a cousin or anything else like that, a female, ask to see their phone. Ask to see their dating app profile. You are going to be fucking enamored. Your jaw's going to hit the fucking floor when you see the sheer volume of attention and opportunities that women get. This massive attention economy that modern women have been able to enjoy over the past 10 years with the rise of social media and dating apps is directly why most women don't respect most men. Most men are not attractive to most women. And most importantly, why the average man struggles in dating. Because women fucking flake. Every single one of us have been there. You meet a girl, you think the conversation went great. You guys have a little bit of a discussion. You guys bond on similar topics and hobbies. You get her phone number, you text her, try to set something up, fucking crickets.
Welcome, punch!
Or conversation goes good, you set up the date, she doesn't show up. Happen to every single one of us in here. And this is something that other women are keenly unaware about. Also, blue pill and married men are keenly unaware about. This is why I tell you guys, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Ethan Klein, all these guys, none of these niggas know what the fuck they're talking about. Need to shut the fuck up when it comes to relationships forever. This is why conservatives, these tradcons, are retarded. So I tell y'all, don't listen to them. Because they've never had to deal with the flake epidemic that modern men deal with now. Ever. And I see a bunch of you guys in the fucking chat saying facts, facts, facts. Yes. Any guy that's single, dealing with modern women, you guys already know the biggest fucking problem we all deal with, and nobody's safe from this shit, is fucking flakiness from women. This is why the passport bro movement has exploded in popularity. Men are tired of fucking dealing with entitled, rude, rambunctious, unsubmissive Western women that waste your time, flake on dates, don't show up, want you to invest an enormous amount in them in the beginning with no promise of any type of return. This is precisely why guys go to Colombia. This is precisely why guys go to Thailand. This is precisely why guys go to Philippines. This is why. The lifeblood of the passport movement that led to the fucking explosion of it is the flakiness of the modern woman. And I see a lot of you guys are saying, damn, facts, facts, facts. Yes. And the crazy part is that nobody's impervious to this shit. Nobody's safe from this shit. Everyone has to deal with it. So you have to become more and more sophisticated and more clever in how you source women in modern day society. And idiots like Ethan Klein can't even fathom it. He can't even fathom it. This motherfucker had to go to Israel to get a fucking 2 out of 10. Now, I don't know if he forgot. Maybe he's been out the game for too long. But this guy had also go to a foreign country to find a chick. But he has the nerve to fucking sit here and get mad at me and lecture me, saying, well, you tell guys to do this. Yeah, this is how you navigate the new normal, retard. And the reason why this is so fucking important is because, and this is why, like, I tell you guys all the fucking time, right? Like this dumb bitch over here that's reacting to this video as if he ate. No, he didn't. This is why blue pill men and women have no fucking clue what the average guy goes through. I do, because I'm in this shit with you guys. I wasn't always a fucking podcaster. So anyway, let's keep going with the clip here.
It seems like you are confirming your biases by even going there to find women.
See how we just, again, mischaracterized this, saying you say women are shallow, not true. Then you go on essay where the girls are shallow, not true. That's not why I tell guys to go on there. And then he says you're confirming your own biases. Bro, I've been saying it for years. All women are gold diggers. Some are just better at hiding the shovel. I've acknowledged this ugly reality about women for a very long time. I've been telling you guys for fucking years that women are opportunistic lovers. I've been telling you guys for years that women may select from an opportunistic perspective. I've been telling you guys for years, you have to get your money on point. You got to go to the gym. You got to self-improve. You got to be charming. You got to be a good speaker. You got to be able to plan things. You got to be dominant. You got to be a leader. I've been telling you all this shit for years. So what the fuck is this retard talking about? As a matter of fact, the reason why I tell you guys to do all these things is because I know and accept, most importantly, how women are. I understand them. I know how they may select, so I prepare you guys for how they may select. I'm not over here complaining. I'm acknowledging and explaining to you guys how they do things. Now, here's the difference between me and these other stupid-ass niggas. A retard like Ethan Klein or a dumb bimbo like this bitch right here that's watching and reacting to this clip, they'll say some nonsensical bullshit about, oh, just be a nice guy and you'll find the right girl and just be yourself. All this bullshit fucking advice that doesn't fucking work. That has you fucking sitting in a coffee store for 2 hours wondering where the fuck she's at. That has you fucking sitting there staring at your phone, seeing why she didn't respond, left your dumb ass on scene. Why she fucking doesn't respond to you on DMs. That advice perpetuates a very fucking problem. But then they got the nerve to come at guys like me who tell you guys what the fuck it really is and then mischaracterize my position and say some bullshit about, oh, well, you're complaining about women being shallow. Nigga, nobody complained about that shit. I acknowledge it, and I tell people how to combat it. It's not about complaining. It's about identifying the problem, then, most importantly, identifying solutions. Problem A, women are flaky, entitled, rude, non-submissive, and they, from an opportunistic standpoint, and social media and modern-day society, our gynocracy allows them to do this with almost no consequence. That's the problem. I've identified the problem. Now, how do we deal with that fucking problem? You must become the best version of yourself. Being average is no longer acceptable. You must be 3 to 5 points above your woman and sexual market value. You must be a leader, competent in all realms, go to the gym, be in shape, be charming, be charismatic, be a good dresser, not stink. Your physical looks matter more nowadays in this fucking social media world. And you need to have other women out there. And need to be spinning plates. That is the fucking solution. That is the solution. You must have an abundance mindset. But how do you have that abundance mindset? You got to talk to women on a different forums. Sugar sites, online dating, in person, social circle game, social media, whatever the fuck. But you always got to have leads coming in. Because when you have leads coming in, you don't come off as thirsty, and women smell that shit right away. But of course, this is too complex for idiots like Ethan Klein or this stupid bitch to analyze. Because they'll never understand. They'll never understand, ever. And this is precisely why I tell you guys, never listen to women when it comes to dating advice. Bitches have no fucking clue what it's like to be a man in 2026 dealing with these entitled fucking bimbos. Zero fucking clue. How many times have I shown you guys a video where a bitch makes a Tinder profile for her guy friend, thinking that it's going to be fun and easy, and then they're fucking crying by the end of the experiment? And they realize how callous and cold women are to a majority of men. They're over here thinking like, oh yeah, my friend's an attractive guy. He should be able to get a bunch of matches. I got super game. I can do this. Couple days on a platform. Then the reality sets in. So that's what it is, dude. That's what it is. That's where we are. And it's extremely frustrating when retards like this woman and Ethan Klein, who have zero fucking clue about the sexual marketplace today for a man, try to chime in and give their fucking opinion.
You know what I mean? What? Sorry, Walter. You want me to say it again slower?
Yeah, so Fresh is like, yo, this nigga's retarded. Right? Like, you guys know when someone is so painfully blue-pilled, it's like you don't even want to fucking begin. You know? Like when someone is so, well, number one, when someone mischaracterizes your position and then someone simply can't understand the new normal of dating, like you're just like, oh my God, bro. All of us have that one blue pill friend who still thinks they got it, but they don't know shit. And they're so fucking off base that you're just like, bro, I can't even, nigga, we can't even, bruh. You're over here going at 5 miles per hour, dude. I'm over here at 500 miles per hour. Like, I don't, like, you don't even want to bother with explaining to them how to catch up, like how the shit really is, dude. It would take you, they're so fucking behind, it would take you an hour to just explain to them how feminism has changed things. And it's always the blue pill guys that think they know the most, by the way. You guys ever notice that? It's always blue pill dudes that think that they know the most. They use this false equivalency of, well, you're not married, so you're not successful. Motherfucker, it's not a man's job to get married, you fucking dumbass. It's a woman's job. But where do they get this stupid ideology from? I'll tell you where. They get it from feminism. Feminism assumes that men and women are equal, and they go off of blank slate equalism, which is the biggest lie ever, by the way. Blank slate equalism is the root cause of many of the problems that we have when it comes to male and female intersexual dynamics. You have two choices. You could be a retard like Ethan Klein and all these other motherfuckers and think men and women are equal, right, and act accordingly. Or you could be a real nigga like me and understand that women are stupid and inferior to us and act accordingly. Now, I know some of you guys might say, Myron, that's so offensive. Why do you got to say it like that? Oh, my God. Well, if I tell you that they're bumbling idiots and you need to be the leader and you need to be the decision maker, etc., and I tell you that they're incompetent, well, that's going to behoove you to be a better man because you can't rely on her to be as resourceful or in a leadership role like you can be. And fortunately, for you motherfuckers, the guys that think like I do the best with women.
Bombacat!
The men that don't see women as equals tend to do the best with them because they naturally fall into their masculine, and by telling the woman that she's the follower and the subordinate, she naturally falls into her feminine. It just works out that way. But if you're going to sit here and say some dumb shit about, oh, well, happy wife, happy life, my ball and chain, she's my better half, all this fucking monkey simp ass shit, it's just a matter of time. And then if you ever watch an H3 podcast, look at Ethan's fucking wife. She looks at him like, damn, man, what the fuck? Why am I with this ugly motherfucker, bro? Bro, look at his wife. His wife be looking at this nigga like, why am I here?
And unfortunately, in today's day and age, it's not that simple anymore. So we live in a very complex world where it's difficult to identify women that are marriage material, and most aren't.
You're 34, right?
And he's talking all this shit, and nigga had to go to Israel to find his bitch.
Right, Myron?
Yes.
And do you plan on getting married someday?
Eventually, the nuclear family is the backbone to any thriving society.
Oh, thank you for saying that about me.
Good job, but a lot of guys don't have that ability to find a woman that's worth.
Yeah, you had to go to another country, nigga, to find your bitch, and she had to have the same shared values as you for you to even make it happen.
You don't have that ability.
I don't have that ability?
You're not married.
That's by choice.
But no, the ability to find a woman, you...
See, now what is he doing? He's taking a female metric of success of getting married and trying to apply it to me. This is what's called blank slate equalism that a lot of these normies and blue pill retards subscribe to. That's like me saying, oh, let's say I take a hot girl and I tell her, oh, well, you're not fucking anybody. She's gonna be like, yeah, I'm selective. How stupid would I sound if I went up to a chick and be like, yeah, well, you're not fucking right now. What? I pick who I want to smash. I would look like an idiot if I said that to her. That's exactly what Ethan Klein is doing now. Motherfucker, my job isn't to get married. It's a woman's job to keep me, not the other way around. I'm the fucking prize, not her. And when you frame things like that, everything falls into place. But again, Ethan is a dumb progressive that believes in blank slate equalism. And this is why his wife resents him. Watch any show. She looks at this nigga like, ew, I'll show you guys a clip.
Clearly don't have that ability. If you guys' method is so good, why aren't you married?
Again, because men are the ones that decide if they want to get married.
See, he doesn't understand that men keep relationships and women gatekeep sex, but he's too stupid to understand that. That's why talking to blue pill normies is so fucking infuriating.
Choice. So you choose not to be married.
Yeah. So Fresh, see, they say walks out after getting embarrassed. See how this is so deceptively fucking edited? No, he walks out because Ethan's a fucking retard. That can't grasp that men and women are biologically different. That's why Fresh gets up and says, this nigga retarded, bro. That's a man walking away from a blue pill idiot. And then you look at this chick, right? What is she? Oh, fuck, I can't even look. She's a thought. That's all you guys need to know. She's a fucking thought. So, yeah, dude, that's where we are. That's where we are, like, in America nowadays. Like, where it's like, motherfuckers have no clue what the fuck they're talking about. Let me find this shit real quick. These guys have been losing subscribers like crazy. I'm on their shitty ass channel right now. They haven't live streamed in 3 weeks. I wonder why. Here, let me see. Let me show you guys this fucking brain rot retarded content. Trying to see. So the last one they did was this. Let me see if his wife's even in this episode.
Still shouldn't have been. Here's mine. I like it. I fuck with that.
Or JoJo. 3 up.
Okay.
Who? Fat Love? Oh, Fat Love.
Yeah.
Shrek, Fat Love, or JoJo? Okay, I like that.
You like that?
Oh my God, this content. Oh yeah, look, there's his wife right there. Right? Look how bored and annoyed she looks. Look at that. Is that a woman that's happy, chat? Is this a woman that respects her man? Is this a woman that looks like she's happy to be there? See, and Ethan Klein is too stupid to realize that his wife is only tolerating him. She don't like this motherfucker. She don't respect this motherfucker. She's simply dealing with him because she has to. She got kids with him now. They got a podcast together. Every single time I fucking turn on this godforsaken piece of shit podcast, it's always the same. She's just sitting there unimpressed. Like, damn, why am I with this nigga, bro? So what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to be like fucking Ethan Klein? Eat then decline? And be in a fucking relationship and a marriage with a woman like this that doesn't fucking even like you? Or are you going to be in a position where you get your money up, become successful, and then you fucking pick the girl? And if she dares fucking has this, you know, I ain't bored face, you kick her to the fucking curb. Give that bitch some fucking Jazzy Jeff. And this is precisely why H3 Podcast has been falling off. These niggas are trash. Their shit sucks. Nobody watches these motherfuckers. Last episode was like 3 weeks ago. Niggas are garbage, bruh. Nigga been crashing out for fucking like 2 years now over the Israel-Palestine shit with Hassan. And when the day comes that him and his wife separate, hey, I hate to say it, but you know for a fact I'm going to come out and be like, I fucking told y'all so. I told you so. So yeah, man, this is where we are. This is where we are in America, chat. These guys have no fucking clue. And these guys have millions of subscribers following them, watching them. This is not how you want your wife to ever be looking at you, bro. She's in pain even being there. And then you look at this.
Where you have to separate the art and the artist.
Yeah.
Like, she's so awful, but that's such a banger. I hate voting for her, but it's so good. And you've played it all year.
Well, and also it's our duty not to forget. Right? It's our duty to remember. Although, golly, it's close. Gabe is okay. This is 50-50. You guys better get your votes in.
Yeah, see, this is what I expected. These are the middle 2 seeds, so this is should be about
The fucking sussy ass cast.
as close as it gets.
And just so you guys know, me and Ethan were supposed to do a debate in person. He didn't want to do it because He wanted everybody vaxxed. And then he was also scared to face me face to face. I said, I'll go to LA. Didn't want to do it. Well, I think it'll just be better for everyone if we do it remotely. Bitch ass nigga, bro. Fucking pussies.
This is so close. 50 right now. Based is leading by 2%, down to 1%, 2%. It's teetering between 51, 52.
The psychopath soundbite really helped Gabe out because the first poll around.
Yeah.
Bro, no wonder this shit is cooked.
I'm kind of glad we did both.
This is
Now
painful.
it's super tight. It wasn't before. Very interesting.
Well, at this moment, we have 8,000 votes, and there's 53% for based, 47%.
Don't worry, guys. I'm going to end this pain here in a second.
For Gabe's sound package. It's actually widening at 54%, so I believe we can call this one. Unfortunately, Gabe, it was so close. Such a hard-fought battle. But at this point, we've got a 4-point spread here.
What the fuck?
This is my for art.
Look,
It's feel like thinking back about
here we go. His unimpressed, always, you know, stone-faced, 2 out of 10 wife.
the year and how much each one was used and how much joy each one gave us. I think the base one has been more prolific.
Go ahead and vote your hearts.
And she has like this very like dry sense of humor, like, oh, I'm unimpressed. Shit. It's like, bro, you can tell she just fed up with this nigga, bro. She's 100% fed up with this guy.
You know, I voted it too, and again, this isn't about me. I'm egoless. I'm here to make a good show. Okay, I like that. That being said, whatever you guys
Like, who wants to marry this fucking disheveled ass character that tweaks every fucking couple of seconds, bro? Like, come on, man. Come on. Bro got that Ozempic shake. Anyway, but yeah, you guys get the idea. But I had to just break that down because people deceptively edit clips like that all the time, and it's really fucking annoying. Because most people are blue pill and stupid is really what it comes down to. All right, let's read some of these chats. We got Greg, $25 says, thank you very much, Greg. He says, Myron, I'm from Poland and live in the USA and I have a dual citizenship. I want to join DHS. Do I have to give up my dual citizenship? Also, thank you for everything you do for us, Myron. You're kind of like a second father to me. No problem, Greg. Yes, you will have to renounce your citizenship if you want to join DHS. You will. Because you're going to need a clearance. And if you're going to get a clearance, you're going to have to renounce your citizenship. If you had an Israeli citizenship, though, you'd probably be fine. That should tell you something. Bruce Lee. Wow, Ethan Klein. Yet another blue pill normie cast into the spotlight, but he won't learn. He's too stuck in his own ways. Who's next? Yep. Jason Carr. Is it a good thing if a woman develops pair bonding with a man, or is it a problem because it can make her clingy? That's what you want, guys, is a clingy woman. If a girl isn't clingy to you, it means she's more than likely ran through. Be honest with y'all. Okay? A girl should be clingy after hooking up with you. Are you speaking facts, Myron? I got a girl from Colombia. Yep, that's, bro, I'm telling you, man, niggas are tapping out in the West. Brian, I dated a girl last summer and she was mad at me one day and I went on her dating app and she had like 8 guys she messaged because I made her mad. A week earlier, she's been long gone. Yeah, bro, that's what it is. That's what it is. Myron, are you familiar with AZD Arash Dizabar? I have no idea who that is. Keon Blake, send a $50 chat because I love you, but no homo. Retweet this and help me roast these whatever on whatever. Bro, that's not the topic of today's show. HBO, get your money up and fuck these hoes. It's a cold ass world, and the only way you can play is to step your game up. Yep. Speaking of Money Monday, have you heard about ICE agent that shot the woman getting $475K and go? Yeah, I did see that. They're trying to take it down. They're trying to take that GoFundMe down, claiming that he conducted an act of violence and he shouldn't be able to fundraise. Extra Rice, which documentary do you recommend that shows the true narrative of World War III on top page? Greatest Story Never Told is one of them. Top B says, the guy you showed a clip of clearly doesn't understand that some men are mentally sound on how women are and think and doesn't see that same men act accordingly. Bro, that sentence makes no sense. I think I get what you're trying to say, but that was very poorly worded. Guys, please reread your super chats to yourself before you send it in. Don't make yourself look like a retard. That girl, Sonia, 34 years old, has other videos on you. She has one of Andrew Wilson claiming that he is red pill. She has one of Andrew Tate losing a boxing fight claiming he's alpha male. Yeah, dude, she's a whore. She's a thought. She knows that we're above target. I think she's like in her 30s as well. And the reality is she's pissed off. She has a Ukraine flag in her bio. Like, you already know what time it is. Johnny Snowman, watching you in the sauna came from being fat to being ripped. Austin's watching you, soldier for 2 years, more to come. Good stuff to you, man. Welcome to the OSS. Sandman says Money Monday on FNF. Yes. Myron, are you into fish tanks? No. Still boosted. Did you see this on X, Myron? Going viral. Dude knocks out 5 ICE protesters. I did see that. Myron saw 2 women debating and his brain started getting hot. Yeah, bro. What's up, Myron? Will you do any live events at NYC once it gets a little bit warmer? Maybe. Them boys got me banned on X for 7 days, all for posting the custody records of the rug muncher shot by ICE. Pablito, the Forensic File show was good yesterday. Very fun. Appreciate you. Top page book is up. Yep, got that one. I think we're caught up. Let's see here. And also, guys, like I said before, if you guys are watching the show on YouTube and you guys want to get involved in the stream, we got almost 3,000 plus you guys in here. Okay. You can just, oh shit, DPG with the big 500. Shout out to my DPG guy. To my guy DPG. He says, brother, we here. Boots on X. Absolutely boots on X. Absolutely boots on X all fucking year long. Okay? We are going to be destroying the fucking opposition. Okay? So, absolutely. Martin Tates remind me, any chance of bringing on FNF? Yeah, I mean, we'll try to make it happen, man. I'll see what happens. I think Fresh is trying to make that happen. So we'll see. But yeah, DBG, thank you. I'm going to give you a double down marker for that one. Appreciate you very much, man. Lorming says, Myron, the Tates are in Miami. Okay, yeah. Fresh is trying to coordinate that one. Choppy Volcano. Remember when Ethan interviewed another 304 trying to claim allegations? Yep, and it was a lie. J Miles, I like Pearl. It's just that she fell flat against Anna Kasparian. We need our ultimate warrior out there, you. Yeah, well, that again, I told Word War Debate that like my specialties are like feminism, Zionism, you know, debating Wakanda niggas, if you know what I'm saying. Right? And they unfortunately didn't, I guess they had booked everybody else before me and we couldn't make it happen. But yeah, dude, yeah. So let's see here what else we got. That debate is 2 years old. That speaks volumes. She went back that far. Yeah, bro. Yep. And she didn't even put the full context of it. She edited it, deceptively edited it, made it sound like, oh yeah, look, we're cooking, but she's stupid. Appreciate you, bro. I've been watching you a lot recently. $500, bro, is right. Boots on next. Much love, bro. Appreciate that. Yeah, she really went back into the fucking files, dude. Yeah, it is what it is, though. Niggas are fucking garbage. Fucking trash. Shout out to Robin Kobe 24. All right, let's get into some news. Let's get into Jerome Powell response to criminal investigation into him and the Fed. This also was some big news that we didn't get a chance to talk about. So let's definitely cover this, my friends.
Department has opened a criminal investigation into the Federal Reserve and its chairman, Jerome Powell. It's over the Fed's $2.5 billion renovation of its Washington, D.C. HQ. A Justice Department spokesperson wouldn't comment specifically on the investigation, but they told CNN.
Hey, guys, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Okay, we are currently sitting at 883 likes. We should be at 2,000 easy.
The Attorney General wants to, quote, prioritize investigating any abuse.
Also, OSS guys, I'm about to give you guys a poll here in a little bit if we're going to cut or not.
Of taxpayer dollars. Powell testified before Congress in June, saying the renovation involved various agencies and that the costs had changed over time. He says this investigation is just the latest pressure tactic in an ongoing struggle with the White House.
On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned, in part, a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats.
All right, OSS guys, I'm dropping a poll for you guys in here. If you guys want me to cut to OSS or not, dropping you guys a poll in there. You guys could go ahead and vote.
And ongoing pressure.
So when we hit an hour, I'll let you guys decide.
This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability and maximum employment. Public service sometimes requires standing firm in the face of threats. I will continue to do the job the Senate confirmed me to do, with integrity and a commitment to serving the American people. Thank you.
We're thinking about bringing a gross incompetence, what's called gross incompetence lawsuit. It's gross incompetence against Powell. I'd love to fire him, but we're so close.
Yeah, I'm surprised because I could have sworn he campaigned on firing Jerome Powell like day one, and he still hasn't.
Maybe I still might.
So weeks
right,
ago,
Chad, did he campaign on firing him? Or was it somebody else? Was it Gary Gensler? I forget who it was.
the president was threatening to sue the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell for gross incompetence. Now it seems the Justice Department is going further than that. Federal prosecutors opened a criminal probe into the Federal Reserve Chairman over the $2.5 billion renovation project at the Fed headquarters building in D.C., a project that the president actually toured with Powell back in July. Now, in a taped statement on Sunday, the chairman says this probe has nothing to do with a building. Group chat is back. Gotta say, the markets did not love this. When we look at the Wall Street Journal, they noted pretty quickly that Dow futures fell, and also there was a
Ski sent up. Sorry, I missed your chat. Ski sent a kick. Basically, he said here, Ski320, thank you so much for your donation. He says, Ethan is currently suing 2 bottom-of-the-barrel creators for copyright infringement. He got his gotcha moment, but chooses to ruin their lives. He's a bitch. Yeah, I heard about that he's trying to sue some people. I think like Frogan or some other people like that. I mean, bro, Ethan has been crashing out and losing support for a very long time. His channel's been dying. Nobody watches H3 anymore. They're way past their fucking prime. They're cooked, dude. So they've been bleeding subscribers for years now at this point. They had, I remember when they had like 3 million subscribers. Now they're down like 2.5. Lost a lot of support, dude.
fleeing to parts of the market like
and a lot of it actually is because of his support of Israel, chat. He lost a lot of support for standing by Israel. Hassan came in and just took a bunch of his fucking following, dude.
Bonds and things like that. The things that show we believe in the U.S., people said, we're out of here. I want to talk about the perception of this, because now this is a war of words.
Yeah, so the Wall Street reaction is because they want consistency, and anytime you're threatening to fire the Fed chair, potentially bring in, the rumor would be Kevin Hassett, who's President Trump's economic advisor, who clearly would be setting a policy based off of his relationship with Donald Trump. That's going to worry big business because they can't necessarily do forecasts. They can't anticipate sales unless they have a clear understanding of where the interest rates are headed. The other thing I'd say that's sort of rattling a lot of Wall Street right now is the housing market. So much of what the Fed does in setting interest rates impacts housing availability, labor, and so this shakeup is going to have a huge ripple effect until we know what's happening. And just to give folks some deadlines here, Jay Powell's term ends in May, but his
And again, for you, some of you guys that are watching on YouTube, if you guys want to get involved in the show, you guys know I run the most interactive political stream pretty much on the internet. If you send in, I got it pinned in the chat for you guys. Go ahead and just hit that link. You could donate, and then all chats get run on stream. from Streamlabs. So hit that button. I think if it's $5 or above, it automatically pops up on screen. For some odd reason, I can't make it pop up on screen if it's under that. But yeah, if you guys got any questions, you guys want to get involved in the show, shoot your questions into the chat on YouTube. That's how you guys can still interact with the show if you guys are watching on YouTube. Even though YouTube has me demonetized, it's one of the ways we can still keep the show interactive because YouTube fucking sucks.
Rectorship.
And they absolutely have a personal vendetta against me and Fresh and Fit. That's a fact now at this point. I've known it for years, but it's 100% verified.
In 2028. So this is, even if he were to cut his term early as the Fed chair, you'd still have to figure out to what extent he'd be willing to stay on for the next 3 years.
We got some retard in the chat called Sarah. Keeps saying L Myron in the chat. Are you an Abba and Preach fan? Probably. Never fails.
Yeah, and you're raising the same question Reid Hoffman did, CEO, saying, question to all those who said Trump would be better for the economy is attacking the Fed's independence.
Kind of funny because I think the Anus and Reach fans are coming in here to try to say some shit.
What you had in mind. This was also unusual in that Powell spoke up. Yeah. Okay, Powell released a video direct to camera where he is saying, I am being threatened because my policy doesn't align with what the president said. What are you guys hearing about how the White House wants to play this?
Well, yeah, Powell is definitely making this a fight. And we're reporting today at Bloomberg that some Trump advisors have been anxious about this, concerned about how it would impact the bond market and the markets, and also what this means for, as Sarah was talking about, what Powell will do next when his chairmanship ends, but his seat doesn't, and right. Some people think he might dig in and stay. This could affect Trump's plans for the Fed.
I mean, the Fed is definitely preparing and bolstering its defenses. I mean, one of the things I had noticed last week is that the Fed board, including the Trump appointees, unanimously approved the reappointment of all the regional bank presidents. Like they basically locked in some folks sort of in the infrastructure of the place.
Right, and it had seemed for a time the president was going to back off a little bit on Powell because his chairmanship does end in a few months. I mean, and he himself.
And as you guys know, vote in the poll. OSS guys, vote in the poll. You guys want to get involved?
Said, well, he'll still be here, but he won't be running it anymore. And then the president will likely be able to put in a personal ally of his atop of the Fed. But you heard Democrats also last night pushing back on this and saying that this is, not only another assault on the independence of the Federal Reserve, that this is in line with some of the actions we've seen the president take of prosecuting or trying to prosecute through the Department of Justice his perceived political enemies, as we also saw the last week the White House say that they're.
Oh wow, PVD is gonna have Curtis Yarvin on tomorrow, bruh. I just saw that shit come up on my feed, man. Holy, bro.
They're going to also be installing an assistant attorney general within the White House to look at alleged fraud. So,
and Robert Kobe, thanks for the gifted sub, my friend.
Breaking down
in other states, so basically
in other states, right?
Yeah, it's not just Democrats also who are raising concerns. Last night, we heard from Senator Tom Tillis, a Republican in the Senate, who was expressing concerns about what this means for the independence of the Fed.
Yeah, he was saying on X, I will oppose the confirmation of any nominee for the Fed, including the upcoming Fed chair vacancy, until this legal matter is resolved. So he's kind of saying, go ahead and investigate him. You're not going to get to move much further.
Glad you pointed out, though, that he's a retiring senator, because what we have seen this year, as we're talking about some of these divisions of the Republican Party, is more of the retiring senators who are speaking out against things that they don't like that the president's doing.
I just want to say quickly, the timing matters here. We've got midterms coming up. I think President Trump was looking to see, would the Fed cut rates ahead of the midterms, which would help him? And now that it seems that they're moving slower than he would like, he wants to get ahead of it politically.
All right, we're going to end the segment with this. I want you guys to hear one more thing that Powell had to say about integrity. And this was at the end of his statement.
I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability.
So he's going to probably get indicted. All of Trump's like fucking opponents are going to get indicted, bro. And now, okay, now let's go ahead and look here at the next thing I wanted to cover real fast. breaking news. The state of Minnesota looks like they're gonna okay, actually, you know what? Let's click this with Iran as well. Let's see what we got here with Iran.
We do know Madeline Rivera. She is live now with the latest out of D.C. Maddie.
Good morning, Todd and Carly. President Trump is closely watching the protests in Iran, so much so that he's set to meet with administration officials.
Hey, guys, smash that like button, by the way. We only got, what, 1,000 likes? We got like fucking 3,000 you ninjas in here. Plus, we got like almost 4,000 to 5,000 you guys in here total. So smash that like button for me. I would appreciate that. Keeping up with the news, what's going on?
Tomorrow to talk about next steps. The president, who has promised to respond forcefully if Iran resorts to mass violence, suggests the country
And 61% of you guys voted for us to cut over to OSS soon. Okay.
is close to crossing his red line. The human rights activists' news agency says at least 500 people have now been killed.
These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it.
And we saw some of this yesterday.
And we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination.
Yeah, with the Iranians, you know, the Iranians are not going to trust us. Because remember, keep in mind, guys, they got struck last time while they were in the middle of negotiations with us. Okay, so don't forget that. Israel launched that sneak attack while we were in the middle of negotiations for a nuclear deal, which literally matches the JCPOA from 2015 that we pulled out of, which is hilarious. So on one hand, Trump is like, yeah, no, bro, this nuclear deal sucks. Then he tries to do another nuclear deal.
Iran wants
That's literally like the same thing as Obama's JCPOA.
to go.
Then he went back and said, oh, yeah, we did that as a ruse so that we can attack them. Okay, so you feigned diplomacy. No one's ever going to trust us, dude.
Yes. We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up, but we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting. But a meeting is being set up. Iran called. They want to negotiate.
The Wall Street Journal reports the U.S. options are not limited to just military strikes. Officials are also expected to consider boosting anti-government sources online, deploying secretive cyber weapons against Iranian military and civilian sites, and placing more sanctions on the regime. So far, the Pentagon has not moved any forces.
Critics often argue that modern feminism
could be necessary in case.
Oh, it looks like Pearl is live right now reacting to her debate.
Iran does retaliate against U.S. troops in the region. Iran says U.S. military bases, ships, and other assets will be considered potential targets. But Al Jazeera reports this morning, per Iran's foreign minister, internet could be restored soon as the country tries to project control over the situation. Connectivity would reportedly be restored to embassies and government ministries. Carly and Todd.
All right, Madeline Rivera, live for us in Washington. Maddie, thank you. Let's bring in former Deputy National Security Advisor and Heritage Foundation Vice President Victoria Coates. Victoria, good morning. It's great to see you. Let's start with this latest information that Maddie just mentioned about what Iran's foreign minister is saying today, that protests in the country are actually, quote, under control, and they are now working to restore internet access across Iran. Are you buying that?
Well, good morning, Carly. Good to be with you. No, not at all. I mean, this is the third week of protests. This is the most sustained protests we've seen in Iran since 1979. This is in no way under control. But the problem that the mullahs have is every day they have the internet shut down, costs them billions of dollars. That essentially shuts down their economy. So eventually they have to start turning it back on, or else they're simply going to run out of money. So this is more on.
The other thing you guys also got to understand is that they know that Mossad is on the ground and collecting information. So that's another reason as well why they've been so restrictive with, you know, people being on Telegram, people on the internet, whatever, not justifying what they're doing. But keep in mind that this is exactly how they got hit last time with their sneak attack.
On them than it is
by not being vigilant.
Some kind of acknowledgement that they're in control of the country. I think what we need is more sustained pressure. President Trump has done more for these protesters than any American president in history already, and he's prepared to do more.
So when you say sustained pressure,
Bruh, I don't want to intervene with this shit, man.
That begs the question, what does come next? Here's the president on that. Listen.
Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets that they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. And they won't even.
All right, Ken Rose with the thumbs up. Thank you. P-Dog says, market still cooked today. Anyone watching after funding a 6-month emergency fund and you have zero debt, dump all your money in the S&P 500 after a few years to be shocked at your net worth. Dumping all your money into one asset class is retarded, dude. Come on, man. Waylo says, Myron, your Cookie Monster shirt hoodie is the reason I can't make more Nike merch with my brand logo. Damn. Sorry, bro. Sorry about that, Waylo. Trump can't fire Powell. The Fed Reserve is private. Are you guys still going Money Monday? Yeah, we do. We are going to cover today. Myron, if you consider using a projector in the school debates to show the studies, it won't work. Remember, it's a daytime and shit like that. Myron, you should check out the Citizen Man channel on Rumble. Never heard of it. The troll in YouTube chat is using my picture W stream though. Yeah, people are retarded, bro.
Believe it. I have options that are so strong. So I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force.
The president speaking there in generalities.
Okay, let's jump in this Twitter space real quick. I know they're talking about this, that we're going to transition over to Greenland. They're talking about what's going on in Iran. Let's see what's going on.
Right? I'm using your talking points against you. This is your leader who so-called had a mandate, right? Because I didn't vote for him because I knew he was going to lie about everything and, you know, pretend like things were getting done and do what he needed to do for the people who actually run this country, right? And so if he's not going to where these people actually are, where are the mass deportations that's calling for all of these federal agencies, federal agents in cities? I have a problem with this. I do, because I don't see the benefit for it, but I see the police state being created. And
I come in and it's just a woman talking. Oh my God, dude. This is why I hate Twitter spaces sometimes, bro. Like they just give a mic to almost anybody, dude. It's like, fuck, man. I just come in and just hear a female talking. God damn.
Really left. I'm not sure. Again, I'm with Khaleesi.
I don't know where they get that from.
I think it's a few million that have.
A few million.
Okay, I just want to.
Yeah, and they can track this because they can look at these statistics of like the people leaving and stuff.
Just want to welcome Myron on the stage. By the way, Myron is a huge guest, but he wasn't the huge guest I was talking about. We've got another huge guest coming as well. But I appreciate Myron taking his time out to come. Myron, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I just saw that you guys had a space going. I was covering the imminent war coming with Iran, so I figured I'd just come in this space, see what you guys were talking about, what you guys heard on your side. You know, Trump is saying some stuff about Iran wants to come to the table and exercise some level of diplomacy. And I was saying how, you know, they're obviously not going to trust us the same level as last time because the last time they got hit, we were literally in the middle of talks with them for an Iran nuclear deal, which, you know, mimics the JCPOA, which he pulled out of back in like 2016, 2017, 2018-ish, around there. So, yeah, that's kind of just trying to see what you guys were discussing when it comes to the conflict. But, yeah, I do think it's inevitable at this point.
Yeah, I agree. And we've got quite a few questions for you. But just to give you a quick update, you're right in terms of, as you saw, the protests have completely almost died out. They were basically legitimate on the first day. And then what happened was after that, so according to like my sources on the ground, on the first day, they were legitimate. People had issues with the economy, with financial issues. And then what happened was they basically, the Mossad agents, the CIA agents got involved and they basically pushed and propagandized this. And you saw people like Mike Pompeo admitting that they've got Mossad agents on the ground. They burn mosques, which, as you know, Iran is 98%, 99% Muslim. So the chances that a normal Muslim would do that is very low. And what you saw was on Friday, it peaked. And then the last 2 days now is decreased, whereby even today it's almost diminished completely. And you basically saw where the Iran brought in the embassy or the embassy officials of France, Italy, Germany, I believe. And they showed them videos of basically the protesters / the rioters using guns and shooting at people. So that's the first thing. And so because that's failed, you're seeing a lot of people come out today, as you mentioned. You saw the Trump saying that there's going to be a call from Iran. You then saw PBD coming out saying about how these sanctions that, remember, Trump's just placed sanctions on Iran. He's placed 25% sanctions on Iran, which will harm Iran. but also will harm the United States of America as well, because the countries that trade with Iran are countries that trade with America. So you're basically going to have another tariff war. You know me, I supported the tariffs, but not in the haphazard way that he's been doing it, because in the haphazard way that he's been doing it, it's the working class that lose out. It's the small businesses and the medium level businesses. So it's going to be Americans that get harmed. It's going to be Iran or Iranians that get harmed. So PBD came out and said, oh, brilliant, these sanctions are even more better, showing that he hates Iranian people because it's the poor Iranians who get harmed more than anybody else. But he said these sanctions are brilliant, and maybe this will topple the regime like it did previously. This is his claim, which is obviously false because they've had sanctions on. But that being said, in addition to that, you've basically got what's his name again? Bill Ackman coming out and talking about how he's afraid of the phone call that you're referring to, because there may be some kind of deal that happens, because obviously Trump is kind of, without him having these Zionist mouthpieces at his ear, is a deal maker. And also so is Iran. Iran always wants to make a deal. So their concern is there, so the Zionists are pushing in. So I think the chances that there's a deal is going to be low because of these Zionists. And I think what, as you said, what will happen is, I do believe in the next month there will be, I mean, I think it's the next day or two. That's why we've been doing these very long spaces. Each day we think it's going to happen, but it is going to, I do believe it's definitely going to happen within the next 4 weeks. But what's your thoughts in terms of the attack? When do you think it's going to happen?
I know it's going to be imminent, and the reason why it's going to be imminent is because once we went into Venezuela, I did a whole long explanation on this, but I'll just kind of abbreviate it. I'll assume everybody here already understands about the petrodollar reserve currency status, all this other crap. So I'll just cut right to the chase. The purpose of, one of the purposes of going into Venezuela and controlling those resources was so that Iran potentially shutting down the Strait of Hormuz won't affect us as much, since we know somewhere around 30% of the world's oil goes through there. But the problem is, and this is kind of, you know, the multipolar world that Americans need to understand that we live in now, the Chinese were buying a majority of that oil from Venezuela. Now they're going to shift and buy it from Iran, because who else is heavily sanctioned and sells oil at a discount like the Venezuelans? Iran does. So they're going to go ahead and buy more oil from them. Now, here's the other thing. It's one thing for Venezuela to get money from the Chinese and, you know, fund their government and everything else like that. It's another thing for the Iranians to get it, because we know that money's going to go into defense. They make their own missiles, their own air defense. They buy technology from the Russians and the Chinese. So, you know, I think another reason why this war is going to be is going to come very soon, is because the Israelis cannot afford to allow the Iranians to be able to collect this money from the Chinese that they're now going to start getting because of this oil being closed down in Venezuela. And they don't want them to be able to rebuild. So they got to strike now, while obviously the Shia Crescent, or, you know, whatever, axis of resistance, whatever you want to call it, well, that's weak, while simultaneously not allowing the Chinese to pump more money into the Iranian government, Iranian economy, with the oil that they're going to start buying from them, because now they're just going to shift over to the Iranians. They quietly started closing accounts. I think Reuters reported this like 2 days ago or so. Like, once we got into Venezuela, the Chinese have slowly stopped buying oil from there, and now they're increasing their purchases from Iran. So that money, that influx of money that's going to come in, is absolutely going to be used for defense. So I think that's another reason why we're going to see this conflict come sooner than later as well, because the Israelis can't afford to allow Iran to continue to increase its arsenal even more so.
Just to add, it's only 5% of oil, total oil that China imports, that they're getting from Venezuela. So it's only 5% of their total oil that they're looking to replace. And Russia is also a supplier. So it's not just Iran that's going to be getting some of these contracts.
Of course, but we're talking, even 5% is, we're talking billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. So it's still significant, right? And we know that the Israelis, one of the big reasons why they're pushing so hard for Iran to be attacked now is because they're weak. Right, the axis is pretty much weakened. We know that they're going through protests right now, whether it's Mossad manufactured or not, and we know that you know, Iran's in a rock and a hard place right now. So they've been waiting 40 years for this plus. So they're going to want to take that shot.
For sure. Do you think that they go into Iran before they go into Colombia, Greenland, Cuba, or do you think it's Iran first now and then the rest there?
Well, with Greenland is a whole other situation. The reason why people want Greenland, and I'm really shocked that no one has really talked about this. The main reason why we want Greenland, it's three main things. Hold on, I have it right here. So there's three resources there that we really want. It's one is dysprosium, terbium. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the names, and samarium. And basically, what these precious rare earth metals are basically are they're used in fighter jet magnets. And they're not susceptible to overheating like other materials. And Greenland is rich in these materials. And the reason why the U.S. wants to go in there is because our Air Force and our fighter jets literally need these metals, these precious metals, to operate without overheating. So, and the Chinese have like a monopoly on these metals. So, you know, from a strategic standpoint, they want to take over these resources to ensure our military might. Because as we know, the United States is propped up on 4 different pillars: the petrodollar, reserve currency status, our military might, and SWIFT. And the military might is heavily contingent upon our air power, which runs on these resources that are prevalent and that are rich in Greenland. That's the big reason that we want it. No one's talking about it for obvious reasons, because it would sound awful, but that is why he doesn't want China or Russia to have access to that, because that would hurt us strategically.
Well, that, as well as even more than that, Myron, is the rare earth minerals, because of what you mentioned, is used for data centers. And for the AI race, it basically means that the United States of America is able to control its own destiny when it comes to data centers. They're not having to rely on Taiwan or other countries.
Yep.
So if you look at the AI war, and whoever wins the AI war wins the world, basically. It becomes imperative that you have control over the data centers. And the data centers, because they heat a lot, you need them in cold climates as well. So Greenland becomes just the perfect place. So it's just from that perspective. And then they've also got, I did a Substack on this. They've also got a Jewish Zionist. It's always them, but you've got basically a Jewish Zionist billionaire involved as well, who's going to be basically financially benefiting through a joint partnership with the U.S. government on this. His name is Ronald Lauder. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Continue. I'm not. No. That's every single time, right?
Every single time, and he's the same guy who's been given a contract and a deal in Ukraine for the Ukraine rare earth minerals as well. So he's created a venture where he's going to have a joint partnership with the United States of America. He went in there first and started buying up certain businesses and made a partnership. He opened an organization, a business, with the current foreign minister of Greenland's husband. And then that's the person they're going to trade with. So they've kind of got it all wrapped in. So it looks like quite easily it's not going to be invasion. There's going to be a deal where they've got Ronald Lauder in cahoots with the US government, forming a partnership, speaking to the foreign minister with whom he has a business, who is also part of the business to buy Greenland.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if you look at all of these, whether it's the invasion of Venezuela, what we've been doing with Iran and Greenland, everything, it comes down to each of these countries have challenged one of the 4 pillars of our strength, right? So like with Venezuela, right, they wanted to, I think it was like December 28th or so, Maduro had signed a deal where they were going to sell Venezuelan oil in BRICS currencies led by the yuan. And obviously, I think that was one of the main red lines for Washington. And then another thing also that's important that I haven't really seen too many people talk about is last year, the Saudis basically said that they were not going to renew the petrodollar deal that we have with them, where they do all their transactions in U.S. dollars. So, us losing that the petrodollar being weakened alongside Venezuela trying to do transactions with oil in the yuan outside of the U.S. dollar system. And then also our petroleum reserves have been going low. We have the lowest petroleum reserves ever since like the 1980s. We haven't had it this low for a long time. And that was kind of done during the Biden administration to, keep approval ratings high and not have people panic when everyone was crying about inflation and gas prices and food prices being high. But we've been, really tapping into that, and that's also hurt us too. So I think, when you combine all these different factors, it makes sense why they invaded Venezuela. It wasn't about liberation or going after a drug trafficker, because that's bullshit. Like if you look at the Maduro indictment, they indicted him back in 2020, 6 years ago, right? And that was under Trump 1, which makes it even more interesting. But here's the difference: back in 2020, we didn't invade Russia Russia didn't invade Ukraine, right? And show that a country can still operate out of SWIFT. The petrodollar was still in full effect. Right. And we didn't have low petroleum reserves like we have now. So the only thing that's really changed are those 3 things. Now we got to go ahead and liberate Venezuela and get him because he's a narco trafficker or whatever. They used the ruse in the front of a law enforcement operation to go pick him up. And as someone that's worked with the DEA and actually executed these warrants, bro, you could barely get funding to go across country to get your fucking target. These guys spent billions of dollars to do this. You think it was for a law enforcement operation? No, they just needed an excuse to go in there and grab him and, serve the benefit of removing him from power. And if I'm not mistaken, someone sent me a picture. I don't know if this is a joke or not, but apparently Trump named himself as the acting president of Venezuela.
He did that, but he's trolling. He did that, but he's trolling.
Bro, crazy. Like, it's just like, it's nuts. And you know, a lot of people are sitting there saying, oh, well, you know, this is great because now we get the oil, you know, might makes right or whatever. And I'm not a fan of it, man. You guys know, you know, I'm very, I'm a patriot, but I think a part of being an American patriot is also understanding that we live in a multipolar world, and this is something that a lot of Americans don't want to fucking accept. It's not 1946, it's 2026, and we have other powers like China, Russia, BRICS rising, etc., and it's seriously challenging the hegemony of the U.S. dollar, and this has been going on for a very long time, and people are kind of trying to sleepwalk or stick their head in a fucking hole and say, oh yeah, we're still the strongest, blah, blah, blah. Well, people are starting to realize that doing business with the United States can be very detrimental to your economy and to your country. So, and people are starting, and the Russians and the Chinese are using this as an opportunity. As soon as this happened, they called the Security Council meeting. They called us hypocrites. They said, look, if you don't, you know, if you try to leave the U.S. dollar system, they come after you. If you try to utilize BRICS, they come after you. So we've basically proven what Putin and China have been saying about us for a very long time, that we're hypocrites and we violate the very rules and international law that we try to impose on everybody else. And I think from like in the short term, yes, we're going to, you know, stock market's going to go up. We're going to have some oil. It's going to look good, you know, whatever. Approval rates are going to go up in the short term for sure. But I do think that it's important to understand that in the long term, this is going to hurt our image. This is going to hurt our ability to influence other countries. This is going to push other countries towards the BRIC realm of influence versus the U.S. dollar. And we need to be very honest with ourselves and understand that people are buying more gold. People are trying to de-dollarize. People are starting to align themselves more with BRICS because we've been weaponizing our dollar system, SWIFT, and our financial institutions to punish people for not falling in line. And people are waking up to that and they don't like it. So, and then Russia has proven that you don't need to exist on the U.S. dollar paradigm to thrive. Their economy has gotten a lot better. I think at some point during the middle of the conflict, they were the 5th strongest economy in the world. They're sanctioned to hell. They're not on SWIFT, but they found a way. So I think in a multipolar world, we need to exercise a bit more diplomacy versus, you know, just using force and invading countries. I think is a bad look long term.
Also, you know, the people who are supporting the invasion in Venezuela, but do not support the illegal war in Iraq, they have a major contradiction in their view, because if they hold the opinion that they weren't okay with the war in Iraq because it was for Israel, but then on the other hand, and that the US didn't benefit, but then they support Venezuela, actually in reality, although I agree that the one was for Israel, the war in Iraq, even though the one in Venezuela, again, another Jewish Zionist billionaire, Paul Singer, is actually the person who benefits more than anyone else. But put that aside, if you look at the illegal war in Iraq, yes, Israel benefited, but actually the military industrial complex benefited. So what that meant is the American corporations benefited, which we believe are Zionist, but they are the American corporations, American Zionist corporations benefited. The people did not benefit. And so that's the same thing with Venezuela. When you look at the oil, ExxonMobil, or if you look at a Chevron, it's Jewish Zionist billionaires like Paul Singer who are benefiting. The people won't benefit. But that, again, is an American corporation. So for both of them, you have American corporations, you have Jewish Zionist billionaires, both of them benefit. The average American doesn't benefit. So this idea that you are getting the oil when you not even receive any benefit makes no sense whatsoever. You actually financially, there's no, even for an average American, the ones who are cheering it on, they have no immediate benefit on this.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the reality is, like, this brinksmanship that Trump practices, like, you know, there's times and places for it, but, you know, I do think that we need to be a bit more strategic and diplomatic in the way that we run things. Because the thing is that, like, you know, what are we doing? We're running coups, we're destabilizing governments, we're starting wars, we're getting involved in wars, we're backing militia groups, etc. Right? We're using the gun. Meanwhile, like, China's investing in infrastructure, they're, you know, helping countries out with investing into their government, road systems, etc. They're building infrastructure. Meanwhile, we're over here like destroying infrastructure. And I think, you know, if you're a developing country, right, who looks like a better partner, China or the United States, right? On one side, you got, you know, the Chinese will say, hey, we don't care. We just want to go ahead and do business with you. We don't give a shit about your government. We don't care if you're on a democracy. We don't care. We just want to do business with you. Or you want to do business with the United States, who are like, okay, we'll do business with you. We'll put you in the markets, but you got to do things the way that we want. And if you don't, we're going to de-dollarize you. We're going to cripple you. We're going to sanction the hell out of you. So a lot of people are going to say, you know what? I think I'm going to go towards the sphere of China. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to deal with the Russians. You know, I think I'm going to do some of my transactions in ruble and yuan. And this is what hurts us, because one of the cornerstones of our power that's, created so much prosperity is our reserve currency and petrodollar status. That is a big reason why we've been able to be damn near $40 trillion in debt and not necessarily have the issues that we've had that other countries would have with inflation given that type of debt. So I think we need to be a bit more strategic. And I think conflict and invading countries is not the way to do it. And I'm really surprised that so many people were for this invasion of Venezuela. Look, I'm not a Maduro fan. I don't support the guy, but I do think that sometimes it's better to allow people to stay in place versus destroying that country, and then it leads to more instability. Look at like Libya, for example, right? People can say what they want to say about Gaddafi, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is this, and this is, the fact, since he was killed, Libya's fallen into fucking shit. Right. So we've seen it. That regime change a lot of the time simply doesn't work. Iraq is still not recovered. So it's just I think people really need to and I'm actually surprised at how many like American political commentators are for this Venezuelan invasion, and I think a lot of them are just completely unaware of the fact that we live in a multipolar world. And I get it, because American media never talks about it, right? They're like, yeah, we're number one. No one can stop us. We got nukes. We got XYZ. Well, yeah, that's true. But we don't have the same, we're not as far ahead of these countries as we were 50, 60 years ago. Yes, we do have an edge in some regards, but it's not enough to justify our reckless foreign policy that we're currently engaged in right now.
Also, just thievery and banditry. Like they call them, they were taking the mick out of the Somali pirates, but what's more pirating than going to another person's country and stealing their oil? It's just like a pure example of that. But Myron, I wanted to ask you something. It's controversial, right?
Yeah.
You probably have a different opinion than everyone on this space, but that's why we like you. And we did want to hear your opinion. We didn't manage to get you on the space for the last few days. Is this shooting that's happened with ICE?
Yeah.
And I know you've got a background in ICE. You've got a background as an FBI. I believe you worked in the DHS as well. So you have a significant amount of experience in this field. And if you can give people, just from your perspective, and just to let you know, like from the audience, I know Myron's opinion is slightly different, but that's what I like. I like to have people who've got different opinions on here and on this and various other places. But just give people your perspective on what happened from ISIS, from ISIS perspective, and why you think it was, an acceptable situation or whatever it is.
All right. So before I go into it, because people might not know my background, I was a HSI special agent for 7 years, from 2013 to 2010. I was with the agency from 2010 to 2020, 7 of those as an agent. And, obviously you go through the academy, they teach you use of force, they teach you, when to use deadly force versus not using deadly force, etc. Now and I'm going to offend some people here, but it is what it is. The reality is it was a clean shoot. Now, I know some people are going to fucking get in their feelings about that. It's, oh my God, no, right? Which is fine. But no one really gives a fuck about your opinions. And the reason why is because 3 things come into play whenever you talk about use of force, right? So it's eminence, proportionality, and reasonableness, okay? So let's go with eminence first. Was he in imminent danger? Yes. A vehicle was speeding towards him that is literally a deadly weapon. And we got this guy, Avi, putting the thumbs down. This is funny. This is a foreigner, probably. Now, proportionality. Well, law enforcement, right? In law enforcement training, they teach you to always be one level above the aggressor, right? Or the person that you're trying to subdue. So, for example, if you try to effectuate an arrest and someone puts their fist up and says, let's fight, that's you pull out your taser. They pull out a knife, you pull out your gun. You need to always be one level above the individual that you're in a fight with so that you can have the advantage. This is why they use numbers, this is why they have their tool belt, etc. And another thing people need to understand is that law enforcement has no duty to retreat. By nature of their job, okay, they must a lot of the times confront combative individuals when giving lawful commands. They don't have a duty to retreat. So that's also important. So eminence, number 1, eminence. Was he in imminent danger? Yes, a car was coming at him. Proportionality. Car is considered a deadly weapon. He used his gun. Proportionate. Number 3, reasonableness. And this is the most important one. When it comes to reasonableness, guys, they're not going to go off of 20/20 hindsight. The problem that a lot of these retarded progressives, right, some maybe in Twitter, YouTube, all the different platforms, they use what's called 20/20 hindsight to affect this, to make their arguments. Here's the issue. No one goes off of 20/20 hindsight whenever a use of force incident occurs. They go off of what was known to the law enforcement official at the time force was used. Well, he's there. He walks in front of the car trying to document it. Next thing you know, the car's coming at him. He tries to get out the way, right? Which he did. And he fires off 3 shots and kills the suspect. Well, would that be considered reasonable given what was going on and all the facts and circumstances? It is. It absolutely is. And I know some people don't like to hear that, but you can't disobey the law, get lawful commands, and then decide to go ahead and run at an officer. She was blocking off ICE agents from doing an enforcement operation. They gave her a lawful command to get out the car. She refused. She backed up the car, put it in drive, and ran towards an agent, and he shot at her. It's simple as that. You can't disobey lawful commands. She broke the law according to 8 U.S.C. 111, which is impeding and or obstructing a federal agent, assaulting a federal agent, and they shot her in the process. And that's what happened. And, you know, fuck around and find out. Like, obviously, it's horrible that someone lost their life, but I think that it's very important that people understand that if you disobey law enforcement when they give you lawful commands, you really lose a lot of leverage and you lose the ability to kind of dictate how the situation goes after that. Because all they can do is respond to your actions. Use of force doesn't have to be perfect, and that's what everyone needs to understand. People saying, oh, well, we saw the wheel well turn this way and we saw the wheel turn that way. None of that fucking matters. What matters is what was going through the ICE officer's head at the time he pulled the trigger. And for most people, they would look at that as that is reasonable. Most of you, if you had a car coming at you and you had a gun, you would shoot at the fucking driver too. And that's what he's going to be judged on.
So, Myron, first of all, I appreciate it. Just a few questions that people have on this. Of course, like, look, you're my friend. I respect you. So, obviously, I would never, like, you know, try and, like, you know,
and a lot of the people that disagree with me on this, a lot of the times tend to be foreigners where they have, like, no guns and they don't have, like gun laws or anything like that. So, you know, it's going to be very difficult for people to understand use of force, deadly force with a firearm if they live in a country where guns are banned.
That, and also, I mean, the country is mixed, isn't it? That's why you've got huge protests. But in terms of just a couple of questions, some of the things that have been raised on this basis. The first thing, in terms of someone mentioned HSS directive, is a HSS directive first of all applied in this situation? Because the claim is this: the ICE is actually under the director of HSS, and their directive in their book is, or the claim is that the person actually in that situation should not have shot. He should have basically retreated. Is that your understanding, or do you have like a different perspective?
HHS?
Is it HSS or is it HSS?
No, ICE is under the Department of Homeland Security. So
he means DHS.
DHS, you mean? Oh,
it's a DHS. So DHS, sorry, the DHS perspective. That apparently in that situation they need to retreat. Is that right? Or
no. So here's the thing. The policy is not the same as the law. So agencies have policies, right? And a lot of the times the policies are more restrictive than the actual law. And the reason why agencies have policies that might be more restrictive than the law is to kind of cover their own ass. In the government, we call it CYA, right? But just because you violate a policy doesn't necessarily mean what you did was illegal. Does that make sense? Because policies are almost always more restrictive than the law. Now, when it comes to if you're referring to what I think you're referring to, which is that ICE agents can't shoot at vehicles, is that what you're referring to? That policy paper?
I actually can't remember. Someone brought it up, and it was Joe actually, but he's not on at the moment. But it was something like Manco, you remember this, right? You had the discussion one. Then what was his argument? If you can Steelman it.
So the policy on use of force with vehicles from DHS had a section, like a paragraph that was on vehicles, like you can't shoot at them if they're just trying to run away. It needs to have the threat of physical injury to the officer, but there is a little part in there kind of later on saying if the officer can move out of the way.
Of course.
And I think that's where the controversy is.
Yeah. So that policy that you're talking about, right? That's more about like pursuit, right? So some agencies, right, allow for law enforcement to shoot at the tires in the middle in a chase, right? Like there's a couple of like agencies, state agencies, a lot of the times like state police, where, you know, they have a bit more latitude to get into high-speed chases, to shoot at tires, pit maneuvers, all that other stuff to effectuate traffic stops. That is not the same as a car coming at you. Like, obviously, you want to try to diffuse situations at the lowest, at the lowest level. But if a car is coming at you, right, directly, that is you can absolutely engage that with deadly force. So there's always going to be exceptions to every scenario. But yes, like let's say he wasn't in imminent danger, he would not be able to just shoot at the car. But since he was in front of the vehicle and she gassed it at him, he was within his right to use deadly force because deadly force was being used on him. And there's been many videos, by the way, guys, of police officers being run over by cars and killed. Happens a lot.
So another, just on that though, and I guess before I go into the legal question, one of the arguments against this, Myron, is that when you look at imminent danger, if the car was at a speed, that'd be a different story. But the argument is that it started from still. It was basically going like 5 miles an hour by the time it even hit him. Would you consider that imminent danger? Like no one's gonna get hurt from that.
Yeah, because it's not just deadly force; it's serious bodily harm. It doesn't take much to break your bones, and and serious bodily harm can constitute that. So, not much force is required to break a human bone. So, like with that situation, you can make the argument for sure that it's imminent, man, because it's a big vehicle, 1,000 pounds, maybe if not more. So that coming at you, even if not at the fastest speed, can absolutely still hurt you. Also, another important thing, because I've seen a lot of progressives try to use this to say that it's a gotcha, but it actually is not. This guy had been dragged by another individual while trying to effectuate an arrest, right? And what ended up happening was a lot of people said, oh, look, see, this guy got in another situation where he got dragged by a car. That actually makes his use of force even more reasonable, okay? Because what happens is when he's going to go ahead and do his interview with OPR and all these other agencies, they're going to ask him, what was going through your head at the time? Why did you pull the trigger? And he's going to talk about how he's been dragged before. He's going to talk about how there's been a lot of resentment against ICE recently, how it's very dangerous to do his job. He was just there trying to document the vehicle and she wasn't complying with lawful commands. And when they told her to get out the car and she backed up and ran at him, he felt like his life was in danger. Him getting dragged by another individual, which, by the way, they found that guy guilty, the one that dragged him. He just got convicted not too long ago, and I think he got sentenced. That's actually going to add more credence to his reasonableness when it comes to the use of force there. So, and I cannot explain this enough, or I can't harp on this enough when it comes to use of force in America. 2020 hindsight doesn't matter. You can look at as much video as you want, slow it down. Oh my God, he didn't act, blah, blah, blah. That's not what matters. What matters is, did he act reasonable off of the limited facts that were available to him at the time that he pulled the trigger? If the answer is yes, he is clear. And I'll tell you guys this right now, he's more than likely going to go ahead and get cleared on this thing. Who's this fucking retard that keeps putting a thumbs down? Yo, Avi, where are you from, bro? This Avi guy, where are you from?
I'm from Puerto Rico.
You're from Puerto Rico? Are you live in Puerto Rico, or like where you have an accent?
No, I live in Boston.
Are you American?
I'm traveling.
Okay, so you're a foreigner.
Yes.
So shut the fuck up. Your opinion doesn't matter.
I wasn't talking. I was just playing with emojis.
Yeah. You're putting a thumbs down, trying to undermine what I'm saying here, as if like, and this is what annoys me with foreigners. Like, you guys have no fucking clue what the Second Amendment is. How, when you're justified in using force, how to defend yourself, any of this stuff. You guys have no fucking clue. You guys, live in your cucked ass countries where you guys don't have weapons, and you're like, oh my God, American cop shoots an innocent woman. Number one, she's not innocent. Number two, she was impeding them. Number three, she was breaking the law. She tried to fucking run him over by a car, and she got shot in the process. Like,
I appreciate it, Myron. I actually appreciate your perspective. Like, I'm not like, don't get me wrong, I disagree with it, but I appreciate it, and I understand where you're coming from. Like, don't get me wrong, there's no attacks.
I mean, if you disagree with facts, bro, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is a clean shoot all day. Like,
well, listening to
he's not going to get indicted. He's not going to get charged, and if he does get indicted, he's going to get thrown. He's not going to get found guilty. It's a clean shoot all day.
No, I also heard the analysis of an ex-FBI agent, Stu Kaplan. He's actually, this guy himself has a lot of credentials, and he's got a very fair point. He's got a point. Just hear me out one sec, because you've obviously said a lot of things, and it sounds like it's a lot of your opinion. But he made a statement, and I've said this over in this space again, and I'm going to ask you this question. The courts, including Supreme Court, have recognized that officers must plan for the possibility of flight rather than positioning themselves in a way that turns flight into a deadly force scenario. And the question I have for you was, did it look like he was actually considering flight at any point when the escalation occurred?
Yeah, but what are you quoting?
Yeah, dude, he literally moved out of the way and still got hit.
No, he didn't.
Yes,
no, he didn't. He moved his gun up first. He moved his gun up first before he even considered moving to the side, which he could have just easily done.
So, okay. So if, this is why oh my God. If he pulls out his gun, right?
Calm down. Not too aggressive.
People, no, it's not. No, because you're fucking stupid. And I hate talking to stupid people, but it's fine. We'll have this discussion.
Breathe.
Right? If you pull up,
Breathe.
bro, shut the fuck up. Okay? You fucking gasp anytime someone calls your name at fucking Starbucks as you get your fag latte and you're over here trying to tell me use of force. Okay? So anyway, back to what I was saying. If he pulls out his gun, right? As the other guy's giving her lawful commands, and she still hits the gas, what does that imply? Exactly.
That implies that she's not abiding by the law, is what it implies.
Okay, so he puts the gun out, and they're giving her lawful commands to get out, and she's not doing it, and she guns the car at him. What does that imply, my friend?
He put his gun out, right, before she moved forward. He put his gun out before she moved forward.
Precisely.
That's part of the video evidence.
Yep.
So he did an unlawful act. Before he was threatened, he did an unlawful act.
Pulling out your gun is unlawful?
What was the threat at the time?
She was in a car, and he was in front of her, and they gave her
Well,
lawful commands.
he shouldn't be in front of her. The policy
She committed
says
a
you gotta
felony.
move out of the way, and the policy also suggests that you should look to move in flight as opposed to look at shooting someone if the situation occurs.
Again, policy doesn't dictate law. Policy is almost always more restrictive than law. Okay, so here's the thing: he pulls out his gun. Okay, that's a very subjective situation. Every cop is going to pull out a gun at different levels of use of force. That's not really for us to decide. But if he pulls out his gun and they're giving her lawful commands to get out the car and she guns it towards him, what does that imply, bro? Like, you're proving my point for me. Like, your logic doesn't even hold. If they're giving her lawful commands and she still guns the car toward him as he has his gun out, what does that imply? She's trying to hurt him. So he shot her.
First of all, it's your opinion that the gun went at him. That's your opinion. That's not a fact, all right?
Wait,
we'll wait for the court hearing.
What's my
Your
opinion?
opinion is that she was trying to gun at him. That's your opinion. You're trying
She hit
to
him.
shape this as fact.
She hit him.
Well, that doesn't mean she tried to hit him. That doesn't mean she tried to hit him. That doesn't actually confirm that she actually, in her mind, her intention was to directly hit this individual.
But does that matter? So does that matter? Like, for example,
See, and this is why, Sulaiman, see, this is the issue here, right? Because and this is why you can't, like, these Monday morning quarterback guys are fucking 50 IQ. Because now with that logic, hold on, let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying, bro.
1 second, let him go, please.
Like,
Go ahead,
see, here's the thing, because notice how he's putting all the onus on the ICE officer when the ICE officer was lawfully there. He was documenting the situation. They gave her lawful commands. She didn't obey those lawful commands. And then she came at him, and now they're saying, oh, well, it's your fault because you didn't get out the way. Hey, bro, law enforcement is a dangerous job. All you could do a lot of the times, police officers and law enforcement have to react to whatever force is coming at them. And he reacted in a way that is justified in this situation. So for you to sit there and be like, oh, well, you know, he should have ran out the way, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what? Next we're going to say, well, you know, he pulled out the knife, dude. Like, just get out of the way of knife. Oh, he pulled out the gun. Avoid the bullet.
There wasn't a knife there, Myron. There wasn't a knife.
I'm using your own logic.
There's a car.
I'm using your own knowledge. Yes, the car is a deadly weapon, bro. Like, you're over here sitting saying, oh, we'll just move out the way. Dude, by that logic, then just move out the way when they pull out their gun. Just move out the way when they pull out their knife. Like, you have zero idea of tactics, use of force. You probably have never been in law enforcement, military, whatever. So you're speaking from a very, how do I say this? You're speaking from a position where, quite frankly, with all due respect, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
That's a few questions for you. Okay, Avi, let me just ask some questions because I want to like weed out the different positions just for the audience so they can hear all the different perspectives.
Sulaiman, I did pull up the policy, by the way.
Manco, 1 second, I'm speaking.
And she was coming right for him. If you look at the video, like, you can clearly see that she comes at him. He just gets out the way and still gets hit.
Myron, so just on that actually, do you believe? Because from my understanding, it's not relevant. But do you believe that she intended to hit him, or do you believe that she didn't? But that's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. What matters
Okay,
is
cool.
what matters is a reasonable person could believe that she was trying to hit him. That's all that matters. Would a reasonable person, based in his situation, where a lawful command is given and she decides not to follow that lawful command and guns it towards them, whether she was trying to hit him or not is completely irrelevant. Like, the question is, did he act reasonable given what was happening at the time? And most people would say, yeah, if I gave this guy AV the gun and he was in the same situation, he would have shot even more probably.
So
I would have moved to the side. I would have let
another
Crip
thing
walk.
that just 1 second. Another thing that one legal expert, again, some of these legal experts are like right wingers, but they were actually going after the Biden administration, but they just disagree on this issue. There's two key contentions. A couple of them said. One of them, they had a back and forth with JD Vance, but the other said that if it was his client, that the first shot you can basically maybe get him like a plea deal or maybe get him off, but the second and third shot showed his kind of a psyche, and then he swore afterwards. And then you mentioned about the I mean, they didn't mention this, I'm just adding this extra bit, which is that, do you remember the guy you mentioned, the other guy that dragged him? Well, in that incident, he actually smashed the window and put his hand in, and then that's when he got dragged. So I guess psychologically maybe he wasn't in the best frame of mind from the PTSD, and therefore he overreacted in the situation, and that's why you saw the second and third shot. And then and so what's your thoughts on the second and third shot?
Okay, when law enforcement shoots their gun, right, it's to stop the threat. Translation, kill that motherfucker. That's real. They don't want to say that, but that's really what it comes down to, is to stop the threat. A lot of the times it's going to come from them being gone, right? And I know that sounds awful to hear it that way, but there's a reason why they teach you to shoot center mass and to stop the threat. So that's what he's trained to do, to stop the threat. And that's what happened. And when he got dragged the last time, during that thing, what they were actually doing was they were trying to effectuate an immigration arrest. The guy was a convicted sex offender. He had like raped a kid or whatever. And what ended up happening was he never got a detainer put on him because Minnesota is blue and woke, and they didn't turn him over to ICE. So they tracked him down. They found him. They had him on surveillance. And when they tried to pull him out the car, he wouldn't get out the car. That's why he had to use a window breaker to smash the window in to try to grab him. And that's when the guy took off.
And then, did you see the back and forth this lawyer had with, what's his name, J.D. Vance, which kind of destroyed him in the back and forth?
I didn't see the back and forth.
This is her claim, but I want to hear from you because this is your area of expertise. Obviously, J.D. Vance is going to get smashed in this. But this is what her initial tweet said, and they had a bit of a back and forth. She said, ICE officers, and you'll know better about this, so if you can explain or illuminate. She said, ICE officers have no authority to search a U.S. citizen or arrest her unless there's a probable cause to believe. Do you disagree with that?
So, okay. Number one, if you're impeding federal agents from doing their job, whether you're a U.S. citizen or not, you're absolutely subject to being arrested and confronted.
Cool. And that's by ICE, right?
Yeah. Like if you're impeding, like that's nonsensical and retarded. Like to even yeah. ICE officers, if you're a U.S. citizen and you're impeding ICE officers from doing their job, a lot of the times they warn you first. As a matter of fact, they were warning her. That's why he was recording in the first place, documenting everything, right? And she still didn't want to comply, and that's what ended up happening. But yeah, if you impede ICE officers, dude, I've arrested people for impeding before when I was on a job. If you impede them, they can absolutely arrest you. Yeah, when I was an HSI agent. Yes, when I was an HSI agent, I arrested 2 guys for impeding Border Patrol agents at a checkpoint. They didn't want to answer questions at a checkpoint, and they fucking just grabbed them and took them out the car, and I arrested them for impeding. The threshold isn't that much.
Okay, and then this is the other claim she mentioned. She said the video shows that she could remember from his angle, he could see this. It says the video shows her steering wheel is clearly turned to the right with a clear attempt to leave without hitting anyone and steer clear of the officer standing in front of the vehicle. Remember, he's recording, he has the camera in one hand and then he's watching and then he pulls the gun out afterwards on the other. The officer had time to step aside. He didn't have to shoot her. Even a real police officer would not have had the right to shoot her for trying to flee. This is well established in case law. And then she goes on. I'll read the other bit, but I don't want to give compound you with so much information. So what's your thoughts on that?
She's an idiot. I mean, look, this woman is incredible because the fact that she even tried to infer that ICE can't act against U.S. citizens, it proves that she's low IQ. When it comes to a car coming at you, this is what I mean when I say 20/20 hindsight doesn't matter. Like a reasonable person, right? When you're in a use of force situation where it's life or death, you literally have seconds to make a split-second decision. Is he going to sit there and be like, oh, she turned the wheel all the way to the right, so if I go ahead and pull out my protractor, this angle right here, she's not going to hit me if I just move 2 degrees to the right? No. Like, lawful commands are given, gun is out, she's still gunning the car towards you. A reasonable person would believe, damn, I might get hit by this. Am I going to take the chance, right? Like, if someone has a knife, right, and they're 10 feet away from you, 20 feet away from you, like, are you going to shoot as they get closer to you because now danger is more imminent? No, you're going to shoot them before they even come close. And that's the reality. That's what it is. Like they don't have to sit there and wait and see what they're going to do. They can preemptively act if they feel like their life is in danger. And that's what matters here. It's not going to go off of what this lawyer thinks in 20/20 hindsight with a Monday morning quarterback perspective. It's going to matter what was known to the officer at the time the use of force was done. And there's a very strong argument that it was done in a reasonable fashion given the facts and circumstances that were apparent to him at the time that the use of force was done. And I'll give you another example. So the whole steering wheel thing, right? Let me give you another example why this falls on its face. Let's say a bank robbery is in progress, right? And I show up to the scene as a cop. Some dude has his hand in his sweater, right? And he pulls out what I think at the time is a gun, but it ends up being a Nerf gun or a BB gun, right? And I shoot and I kill him. Well, here's the thing. They're not going to come back and be like, see, it was a BB gun. This guy needs to go to jail for murder. No, they're going to say, okay, a reasonable person would believe that that was a real gun and he shot and killed him. This is a clean shoot, because what would a reasonable person do given that being put in that perspective? So that's why it's so important to understand that 2020 hindsight never matters when it comes to use of force situations, because you can only go off of what you knew at the time.
I think that's where the point of disagreement is, that would a reasonable person with a car that's stationary believe that that car's going to kill them or even injure them badly? And I think that's where the point of disagreement is, that would it or not. Like, we've all been in situations, I mean, cars are everywhere. We've all been in situations where cars have almost hit us or whatever it may be. And so I guess that's where the question mark's going to become, that is that a reasonable thought to have in that situation? If the car was in full speed, I think then it's just unequivocal. But I think because the car was kind of stationary and then moves towards him, I think that's where the kind of
but keep in mind that it doesn't have to be. It could be death or serious bodily injury. Serious bodily injury could be breaking bones, which you don't need much.
But do you think that would happen, Myron, from 5 miles an hour?
I think it was a little bit faster than that. The way the force, I mean, when it hit him, you could hear it on the video, like it knocks the wind out of him. Like that was a big vehicle, man.
No, he shot twice after that. So
I'm saying when it hit him, you can see that number one, he's surprised, right? And then number two, you could see that it hit him pretty hard. So like it's easy for us to sit here in the X space and be like, oh yeah, bro, it was only coming 5 miles per hour, blah blah. Bro, I don't think anybody in here seeing a car come at him would take a chance and be like, you know what, it's not that bad. Let me just try to get out the way and not shoot. No, man, like it's very easy to Monday morning quarterback and then say, oh, I would have done this, I would have done that. Most of these people that are being critical have never held a gun before, never shot a gun before, never been in a life or death situation where they're making a split-second decision on a very serious incident that could literally lead to death or serious bodily injury. So I think based on all the facts and circumstances, being in a hostile environment, being dragged before, this woman getting lawful commands and not listening, him pulling out his gun and her still driving towards him, all of this adds credence to him pulling the trigger and shooting her. It makes his case stronger, actually.
Just on that, 1 second, bro. Can you stop, Ivy, please? Just on that, in terms of that one, I'm interested in. In terms of, do you remember when he got dragged? That one, you said that'd be in his favor, but in terms of his favor, maybe. But like, should someone like that be on the force so quickly? If he basically, I believe he smashed the window in and then he put his hands in and then the guy drives off. So quite aggressive individual it seems. But that being said, the guy drives off and then he gets injured a lot. Like him having that kind of psychological damage, you're saying that would be in his benefit, because he said, look, this happened to me previously, but should he even have been on the force if he had that kind of major incident happen to him?
Yeah, because he was acting in a lawful manner. We're talking about a pedophile that was getting arrested. He sped off with the guy. He wasn't complying with commands. He had to smash the window and grab him, and the guy drove off with him. And that's kind of the inherent risk when you go in law enforcement, man. Like that is the job.
Oh,
right?
No, I meant the PTSD, Myron. The kind of impact from that, like the psychological impact.
No, because he's doing his job. Like, I mean, this is just what happens. Like, everyone is going to get into a use of force situation in their career, at some point. So no, I mean, I don't think that disqualifies him from being able to be involved in enforcement operations. This is just the job. The job is inherently dangerous, and you are going to deal with it. I mean, this is why they give you tools and they give you training. But at the end of the day, this is the job, and you are going to deal with crazy people that don't comply with lawful commands. And in this case, this guy was a pedophile, and he didn't want to get out the car, and he did what he had to do. And he ended up getting arrested later on for impeding an officer, and he actually got convicted. So the courts agree with me on that. So.
One other question for you, Myron, and I think this is like a big one, is do you think, I know that they normally do investigations irrespective of the situation, but do you think there should be like some kind of independent, transparent investigation what everyone can see? And the reason I'm asking that is because if there's no investigation or he's not charged, 50% of the country, if not actually more than 50%, I think the majority of people are holding this opinion, because a lot of right wingers have been up here and they kind of feel like it wasn't right. So I'd say the majority of the country will feel like this is the government once again kind of hiding the truth or trying to basically save their own people or whatever it may be. And so they're going to see this as being oppressive. And so for the good of the country, do you think it would be a good idea that this kind of happened, or do you think like, so what, who cares?
Well, here's the thing. The state police are probably going to conduct an investigation. OPR is absolutely going to do an investigation, which is like the internal affairs for ICE. But he's going to get cleared, man. He's going to get cleared. I don't see, they might convene a grand jury for the state level to potentially indict, but I just don't see, him getting charged. And if he does, I just don't see this sticking, because given all the facts and circumstances, with everything going on, because remember, you got to look at the totality of the circumstances. You can't just look at, you know, just the isolated you know, facts of just this case. You got to look at everything. You know, the animosity towards ICE, the rise in violent attacks on ICE officials, how they gave her lawful commands to get out the car, she didn't. How he pulled his gun out and she still didn't comply. How she drove towards him despite the fact that she might have turned the wheel all the way to the right. Like, you know, him being dragged before. All of these factors are going to come into his decision to use force, and he's going to be judged on, was it reasonable given all the facts and circumstances that were in his mind or known to him at the time, right? So I just don't think, you know, there's absolutely going to be a state investigation and an internal one, but I'd be shocked if he got, well, he might get charged by the state, who knows, but I don't think he'd get convicted as much as people want to cry about it.
That was another question I had. Can he be, because he was like in a capacity as essentially from a federal perspective, can he be charged from a state level based on what happened, or do you think the feds can basically, even if the state did try and charge him, can someone above him, like the feds, come in and kind of stop it? I know normally you can't, but what's your thoughts on that?
I think that I've heard people say that he's going to have like some type of total immunity. I don't know. I think the state can absolutely still come back and charge him with like manslaughter or, you know, something like that, you know, because remember, the state has its own independent legal system and court system. So I think they could charge him. I think at bare minimum, this is probably going to go to a grand jury, because a lot of the times, because this happened with you know, George Floyd and a lot of other high profile cases, whenever you have a case like this where there's like an officer involved shooting, law enforcement shooting, right, and it goes to grand jury, a lot of the times the DA will at least let it go to a grand jury, and if they indict it, then they'll go ahead and take the case anyway, because they look at it like, okay, even though we go to trial and we know that we're going to lose, at least they can defer it to the people. Does that make sense? So like, if you decide not to prosecute, people are going to get pissed off and fucking burn the city down. So what they might do is say, okay, we'll prosecute, we'll take it, we'll convene a grand jury. Grand jury gives a true bill of indictment, fine. And then the guy gets indicted, he goes to trial. If they lose the trial, that takes the onus off the state and puts it on the jurors who are members of the community. So I've seen this happen where anytime you got a high-profile case like this, there's an enormous amount of pressure on the district attorney's office to charge them so that they don't get the backlash and have their city destroyed. And we know Minneapolis, you know, with the George Floyd protests, everything else like that, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't convene a grand jury to try to find a way to get this guy indicted so that they don't have, you know, civil unrest on their end. But, you know, time will only tell. I don't know. It's definitely a complex situation, but there's no way that I see him, even if he did go to trial, getting found guilty given all the facts and circumstances around this shooting. Despite what people say with their feelings and stuff, like, you know, it's just, you know, I know a lot of progressives are mad or whatever, but dude, like, you know, use of force and law enforcement, if you don't comply, it might end up being goodbye.
Yeah, I don't appreciate that, Myron. We did want to hear your perspective. I know there's a lot of people who disagree. Actually, we've got Dan coming up. I think he disagrees, but we appreciate Dan as well. He's been great in terms of his pushback against a lot of the Zionist and drama and this kind of separation between left and right. So we appreciate both of you guys. But Dan's come up. Dan, appreciate you coming on. How are you? And just Dan's coming. By the way, Dan's not also the big guest that's coming up. So we've got two big guests, two huge guests, but actually they're not the one. There's actually a third one coming.
Yeah, and I do have to get out of here because it's like 9:30 now, and we got to do I got to do Fresh and Fit.
Appreciate it.
But no, man, no worries.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Dan. Appreciate you coming on. But thanks for coming on for Myron. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries.
Wait, Myron, where the fuck are you going?
I got to do Fresh and Fit, bro.
Motherfucker, I just came on to talk to you. Now you're leaving?
All right, what do you got to say? Go ahead.
I mean, I just want to discuss this thing. So basically, I mean, dude, look at it. I watch the videos, a lot of them. I feel like drawing your gun and firing multiple rounds eliminates some of your ability to get out of the situation and to get to safety. And I also think shooting a woman that's got her foot on the gas pedal of the car also, you know, endangers other people. So my point is, by shooting the girl, I don't think that you alleviate any of the threat to you, and I think that you endanger other people potentially as well. So that was, you know, my quick view of the situation.
Yeah, well, you two things can happen at the same time. He can try to get out the way while simultaneously shooting, right? Like that you can.
I mean, you can, but like to draw your gun and fire accurately. I mean, that does take at least a half a second, right? And I think that you could, I mean, the car wasn't even barely moving, right? If the car's coming at him at 30 miles an hour, I get it, draw, shoot, whatever. But when the car is basically at a standstill, I mean, she puts it in reverse, then puts it in forward, turns the wheel, she's going, but like the car's not really moving. I mean, if I'm standing by a car and even if they hit the accelerator, I mean, it kind of like bumps me off, but it's very different than getting hit at 20 miles an hour or something like that. So my feeling is just you can just jump out of the way. Like also not be in front of the car when you see, the car is
you can
rolling backwards.
You can back up or get out the way while simultaneously defending yourself. Like if someone comes at you with a knife, right? If someone comes at you with a knife, like you can back up as you're shooting them, right? Like you don't have to just run away. And I think another important thing as well that people need to understand when it comes to law enforcement is they don't have a duty to retreat. Like I've seen a lot of people say this thing about just get out the way and all this other stuff. Like law enforcement has absolutely zero obligation to retreat. Like for a civilian, like if a civilian was in this situation, it might be a bit different because Minnesota does have a duty to retreat law. So does New Jersey and a couple other states in America. But when it comes to law enforcement, and in order for them to be able to effectuate and do their job, they can absolutely stand their ground and use the force necessary to deal with the situation. So with her driving the car towards him, he can try to evade the car while simultaneously, because she's using deadly force with a vehicle, while simultaneously shooting at her. Both things can happen at the same time. And again, this is and it's very important that people know, right, when it comes to law enforcement, 2020 hindsight is not going to be utilized against him, right? There's people talking about she had the car turned all the way to the right, the steering wheel. It wasn't.
Listen, I get it. I get it. Split second decision. I'm not saying it was murder, whatever. I feel he just went into the interaction angry and he wanted to shoot somebody. I feel like, I was a reserve cop for 4 years and been around. Like some of those guys just want to shoot people, and like this guy been hit. Like
in today's day and age, bro, like a lot of cops are not trying. Like, dude, there's a lot of civil liability. Open yourself up to criminal investigations. Like, the worst thing you can do is get involved in a shooting, man. Like, nobody wants
I understand. I get it. But I'm just saying, if I'm a cop and I assess a situation, I see there's a fucking soccer mom in there with a dog, and fucking fuzzy animals in the passenger seat. I don't know. To me, I'm not prepared to draw my gun and shoot at her. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. To me, it didn't seem like she was trying to kill him. It didn't seem like it was, a serious threat. I mean, I get it. Yeah, she tried to drive away. But if that was a traffic stop, I feel like it's very common for people to flee traffic stops and they don't just shoot them in the head. I mean, listen, I get that it's a split-second decision. I'm not saying it was like murder or whatever. I just don't feel like he, was going to make the situation any better by shooting her. Right? Like now you have a car that's driving down the fucking road and, it hit a parked car, but it easily could have hit a person. It could have hit flown off into the intersection, killed somebody else. Also, he's firing 3 rounds. There's crowds. There's people around. Like he could potentially hit, other people in the crowd, hit the dog, hit a fellow officer. I mean, shit happens. Bullets ricochet. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. To me, I'm not just like knee-jerk reaction. The girl's leaving. I shoot her in the head 3 times. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is precisely why, like, you're kind of speaking from a hindsight perspective of like all these other things that could have happened, right? So,
but he's taking all that into account when he's in the situation, right? Like anytime you're, a law enforcement officer, you understand the situation. Like you don't fire your gun into a crowd of people. So if you're surrounded by a bunch of people, you should be less likely to, draw your firearm.
That's an easy shot to do, man. She was a few feet away from him. She's right in front of him. Like that's not going to be that hard of a shoot. Like anybody that understands.
No, but there's people and officers behind the car. I'm just saying,
of course, but these are rounds that typically aren't going to go through the individual. They use hollow points that stay in the body for that purpose. But like, they use the federal ammunition. But the point I'm trying to make is, bro, is like, again, we're speaking from a 2020 hindsight perspective. What he's going to be judged on, was there an imminent threat? Yes, you can articulate that a car is a deadly weapon. Proportionality, he used the gun versus a car, proportionate. And then, reasonableness. You can make the argument that this was absolutely a reasonable response to a vehicle coming at him. When you're in the academy, they teach you, someone could close the distance on you in a knife very quickly. They teach you that a car is a deadly weapon. If somebody comes at you with a car, that's going to be serious bodily injury or death. So we can Monday morning quarterback it all day, but he's not going to be judged on what we're talking about. He's going to be judged on what were the facts known to him at the time. And the facts known to him at the time were they're doing an immigration enforcement operation. They told her multiple times to get out the way. She didn't comply. They try to get her out the vehicle. He draws his weapon. She still drives towards him. Whether the steering wheel will turn all the way to the right or not, he's not going to sit there and be like, oh, well, if I move 2 degrees over to the right, I might not get hit. No, he just didn't want to take any chances, and he shot at her while simultaneously moving out of the way to remove the threat. That's what they're trained for. And
well, I mean, he fired
facts,
2 rounds from the side.
but that's
He
irrelevant.
fired,
With the fact pattern that I just presented, most people are going to say that that's reasonable. And then you said, hey, he shot from the side. What they're taught to do is to shoot to stop the threat. If that means 1 shot or 10 shots, that's irrelevant. Stop the threat. That's
but what I'm saying is the threat is not a threat once the car passes him, right? Like it's no longer a threat.
You're speaking from a 2020 hindsight perspective. You know it's not a threat now after looking at everything, but you don't know.
But the car was, but Myron, the car wasn't moving. It's not like this car is barreling towards him at 50 miles an hour and there's a crowd of people, or there's some, threat behind him. It's like this car is at a standstill. She's leaving. I don't think her intention is trying to kill him. If I was in the situation as the officer, I wouldn't view this as like, oh, she's trying to kill me. I mean, she was smiling as a soccer mom. Like, I don't know, she's a fucking idiot, obviously protesting, whatever. I'm sure he's annoyed by her. I'm sure they've had to deal with tons of these, idiot blue hair liberals, whatever. But I just don't think that it warranted shooting her in the fucking head. That's my opinion. I understand your stance. I feel like letter of the law, can he rationalize it? Yeah, you could say a car is a deadly weapon, whatever, but the car wasn't fucking moving, dude. You know what I mean? I've been hit by cars going 2 miles an hour. It's like if you're standing by a car and they floor the gas, like it's not, you know what I mean? Like it's not a serious threat to me anyways. I can get out of the way of a car that's going from 0 to 3 miles an hour, relatively easily. I mean, this guy was able to get out of the way and fire shots, I mean, so I don't know. Like I said, I looked at it. My issue is more of just, I'm not against the fucking deportations. I'm obviously in favor of that. But I feel like this is an example of the government, shooting citizens. And I think you have to be careful, what you allow, because it sets a precedent. And, what if ICE decides to start deporting anti-Semites? What if they deem, anti-Semites a threat to national security and these fucking guys show up at your doorstep? Now they kill you because they thought you were a threat. I'm just saying, like, you're setting a certain precedent. And if they actually want to get rid of these fucking illegals, I feel like they do a lot better job doing it. To me, a lot of this feels performative. We haven't seen, like, these mass deportations. I mean, they let fucking 10, 30 million illegals in? Like, we haven't even gotten rid of 1 million. It's been over a year. So I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously in favor of getting rid of all these fucking Somalians that are causing all this crime and whatever, but to me, this wasn't.
Do that if you got rambunctious, annoying people like her blocking them from doing their job. And that's like precisely the issue is like, you're not going to get the mass deportations if you got a bunch of liberals literally impeding ICE agents from doing their jobs. They're following them around. They're reporting where they're at when they're doing their raids. Like, this woman was literally committing a felony by impeding these guys. And when they tried to get her out the car and she refused and then just put the car in drive and drove towards the guy, at that point, she forfeited her right to be looked at as a victim. Like, if they give
look, dude, arrest her. I get it. I'm not about,
she committed a felony, bro, and she was trying to run at them. So it's like, they're going to shoot. Like, again, I know you're saying, hey, I wouldn't have shot, but that doesn't matter, because what matters is, did the guy act reasonable based on the facts for him? Someone might shoot, others might not shoot, but use of force isn't always perfect. What it comes down to, was the use of force reasonable? And it's absolutely going to be considered reasonable, and he's going to be cleared. Like, we can have our disagreements here all day, but the reality is, when we look at the law and we look at how he behaved, given all the facts and circumstances known to him at the time, he's not going to go to jail for this. It was a lawful shoot, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like more matters to me as far as, did the guy actually fear, was he actually in fear of his life? What was the actual intent? To me, I'm not like black and white, I mean, cops can shoot people, sometimes it can be totally legal under the letter of the law, but there's, potentially ways they can de-escalate it.
Her intention is irrelevant. Like, all he can do, because since he can't read his mind and this is a rapidly evolving event, all he could do is say, I interpreted her actions as a danger to my safety. They gave her a lot of commands.
But then why is he walking in front of the car?
He was recording the car at the time because to get the plate and all this other stuff.
The plate's in the back. They already had that.
But they were also he's getting her on video as well too. So he's getting everything documented. And then that's when the guy comes over and says, hey, get out the car. And then she backs up and she drives it towards him. And you can see he gets surprised. He's trying to move to the side and he gets hit in the process and he shoots her. But again, this is a rapidly evolving event that's happening quickly. Like, he's not going to look at the steering wheel and be like, oh, she had to turn this way, this many degrees. What it comes down to is, does he have a reasonable belief that he could get serious bodily injury or be killed? And the answer is going to be yes. A car coming at you, whether 5 miles per hour or not, You don't know that. So, and what her
Well,
intention
he
was
knows
is
the car's at a
irrelevant.
standstill. He knows she
Yeah,
put
but
it in reverse.
her intention is irrelevant. If you drive at someone
Well,
after being lawful, after getting lawful commands given, and you don't obey, it's a wrap. Like, you forfeited your ability to be treated in a certain way. Like, they're going to shoot.
I mean, fleeing the police is not, an executable offense. Being an obnoxious liberal is not executable. You know what I mean? Like,
But running your car into them as they're in front of you is.
I mean, yeah, I get, like, to me, she put it in reverse, turned the tires. If she wanted to hit him, she just would have floored it and gone right at him. Like the fact that she put it in reverse. If I'm standing there, it's like if I see a girl put the car in reverse, it's like, okay, this car's moving. She might be, I'm just getting out of the way of the car. Like, she may be fleeing. I'm not like, oh, my life is in danger, she's gonna try and kill me. I'm getting out of the way of the car because I see the car, going to reverse. So now the car's, moving. Potentially she's reversing to, leave out of there, which she was. Like I said, man, listen, we can disagree on it. But to me, I think the more important piece of this is that, it's really dividing the country. And I feel like the greatest issue that we have right now is this Jewish power control, and we're not going to fucking beat that by fighting each other. And this idea that it's the fucking Muslims are the problem, or it's the left is the fucking problem, or, it's blacks or whatever. Like, people can be causing problems, but they can be not the root cause of a lot of these issues. And so to me, I feel like so much of this is a distraction of what's really going on. It's a distraction from the Epstein files. It's a distraction from our fucking, politicians that are clearly occupied and under the control of a foreign government. Like, those are my issues. It's not some fucking blue-haired idiots, protesting. It's not, some fucking idiots, that are upset about this, or people trying to say it's the Muslims. Like, I feel like we have one clear problem, and all this shit just seems to be a big fucking distraction away from that clear problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, they asked me about it and I gave my take on it. And I think, most lawyers would agree with me, especially from a self-defense perspective. The guy is going to be cleared. He didn't break the law. The woman fucked around and found out. It's unfortunate someone lost their life. But if we're going to go off of legal precedent and the law in general and use of force and law enforcement tactics, the guy pretty much went right by the book, man, and he's going to get cleared by this. Like, we can object to it morally. We can have our grievances. We can have our issues with it. But at the end of the day, he acted in a manner that was reasonable given the facts and circumstances known to him at the time that he shot. And that's what he's going to be judged on. He's not going to be judged on, hey, you could have moved out the way, or hey, this was a woman, this is fucked up. She was only going this many miles per hour. None of that matters. Our opinions don't really matter here. He's going to be judged on is what was known to him at the time, and he's going to get cleared of this. Like, this is I'm actually surprised that so many people are like, trying to, argue this from a perspective of morality or 2020 hindsight, when in reality, this happens all the time. Where,
what about Randy Weaver? What about Randy Weaver? What about all the other instances where, the government has basically just murdered its citizens and there was, no recourse? What about, I'm sure you're familiar with what happened in Waco. I'm sure you're familiar with, the Ruby Ridge incident. Like, there's been numerous times when three-letter agencies have literally murdered U.S. citizens. And I think it's just a scary precedent to set, especially when you recognize that this time the government does not have your fucking best interest in mind. So this whole thing of like, oh, well, let's just trust the government and it's legal, as per the government.
I'm not saying to trust the government. I'm going off of just this incident alone, based on the facts and circumstances of this particular case, based on what was going on. This is a clean shoot.
Yeah, this is, to me, it's a bigger issue, right? Like, is this guy technically, legal? Is it going to be cleared? Whatever. That to me isn't as important as kind of like the overarching issue of like, we should not be trusting our government. We should not be giving our government more power. We should not be allowing the government to fucking kill U.S. citizens, under what, listen, if this was an illegal that was resisting, that's a completely different scenario. This is a female U.S. citizen, whether you like her or not, like our country,
she
is
committed
founded.
a felony. She literally committed a felony.
Okay, people resist arrest all the time. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you shoot them in the head. Like, people fucking flee the police.
It wasn't just the resisting arrest. It was her impeding them in their official duty. She had been there, like, blocking them
that's
off.
fine, but you don't kill people for that. Like, throw her in jail, make an example out of her. Fine, no problem.
That's what they tried to do, but she didn't comply. Like, that's, see, like, bro, we got to put some onus on the individual here. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, they gave her lawful commands. She didn't listen. They warned her. And then they shot her. And this is
Yeah,
why.
but I don't think that escalation is warranted. You know, I think like her fleeing does not warrant an execution. I think her trying to drive away doesn't warrant an execution, even if she bumped the guy. Like, I don't know. To me, I'm looking at the situation from the lens of an American citizen, and like, do I want my government to have this much power that they can just start, killing fucking citizens just because they're allowed to by letter of the law? Because to me, I'm looking at that guy. I'm like, if I'm in that situation, I don't feel like she's trying to kill me. I don't feel like my life is in danger. I just don't. The car's fucking going 2 miles an hour.
That's you.
I mean, bro, the car's going 2 miles an hour.
But remember, Dan, that's you. That's not the guy. This is a very subjective situation where you might not feel that way, but he might have felt like his life was in danger.
Let me ask you this. If you're in that situation, do you feel like she's trying to, do you feel in fear of your life, or are you just going to sidestep?
Again, everybody is different, right? I told you.
Like but I'm asking you, because look, you were in law enforcement. I value your opinion. I trust you. I think you're, pretty morally sound. So I'm just curious, if you're in his spot, do you fucking shoot her 3 times, or do you step out of the way and then pursue her and arrest her?
Well, again, I don't know all the facts and circumstances that led to him pulling out the gun and shooting, but I mean, given what I saw, he did act in a reasonable fashion. I think what he did was absolutely reasonable and proportionate to what he was dealing with. And I think bodily injury was, you can argue, was absolutely imminent. And he reacted the way that he did. Does it mean that it's the perfect decision? No. Does it mean, but it's definitely not the wrong decision that he made. I mean, he could have went about it in a different way. Use of force is never perfect. But given all the facts and circumstances, his response to what happened was absolutely reasonable.
I just feel like in that situation, shooting her does not eliminate the danger to you, and it doesn't eliminate danger to other people. I actually think it escalates it on both sides. I think it takes away your ability to get out of the situation, and I think it takes away, others, safety if she barrels through an intersection and hits another fucking car, or those bullets can go through the glass. If they contact her, they still, 9mm exit hollow point or not, and he didn't hit her all 3 times. So, one of those stray shots could have easily ricocheted off the glass and hit an officer, hit a bystander, whatever. So I just think he put himself in more danger, and I think he put people around him in more danger. And obviously the woman that he shot, he put in grave danger. So to me,
yeah, but that's from a 2020 perspective. You know what I mean?
Well,
again,
but when you're in the situation,
he's not going to be judged on that.
I mean, listen, when I was, a cop, I mean, anytime I was in a situation, I mean, I'm like considering, if you shoot, you don't shoot into a crowd, right? Like if somebody's running away, or somebody's, shooting at you and there's tons of fucking innocent people behind them, you might not take the shot. You know what I mean? Like those are things that you have to take into account as an officer. Is like, are you going to, put other people in danger? If you got an M4 and you're in full auto, you're not just going to like rip a fucking, burst into a crowd, right? Even if there's a bad guy there. I'm just saying, like, I think you have to take into account your surroundings. It's a residential neighborhood, I don't know. I mean, to me, those are factors I'm taking into account when I'm going into the interaction. If his hand's on his gun, he's considering using it. When you're considering using your gun, you take that stuff into account. Like, to me, if I felt like there was any risk of her running me down, I wouldn't even be in front of the car. Like, I'd be coming from the side. And, that's one of the things they do teach you in training, is to not stand in front of vehicles, especially, if it's not in park, or you think there's a chance that, she could flee. So, that's my perspective on it.
Well, yeah, like I said, he didn't expect that. You can see he's clearly surprised. He tries to get out the way. But that, again, that's on her for doing that, right? All law enforcement can really do is respond to the actions of the individuals. And if they put themselves in a situation where the officer can reasonably believe that their life is in danger, then they can use deadly force. And that's what ended up happening here. And that was a really bad decision by her to do that. This is why it's so important to, if the cops give you commands, like, deal with the legal bullshit in a courtroom. Don't sit there and resist and put yourself in a precarious situation and potentially get yourself hurt like she did. It just wasn't really smart what she did on her end. It was very stupid.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's arguing what she did was intelligent. It's just the question is, did he, make himself safer? Did he make the other people around him safer by his actions? I would argue the opposite on both. So that's how I kind of look at it, is like, does shooting her, keep him any safer? I actually think that it doesn't, right?
But you're speaking from a 2020 hindsight perspective once again.
Well, I mean, just in general, if somebody's,
we can reassess it, we can look at the footage. Like, you're speaking from a 2020, which is like, that's not. That's
no, I mean, I just, my reaction would not be to draw my gun and shoot her. My reaction would be to get out of the way of the car. Like if I didn't feel like there was an imminent threat, if I didn't feel like she had a gun, I wouldn't even have my hand on my gun. Like it just wouldn't be.
And that's your decision to make, but that doesn't necessarily mean that his response, though different than yours, wasn't reasonable. And I think that's the important thing.
But what I'm saying is shooting somebody that's, you know, potentially going to run you over doesn't save you.
That's irrelevant. What's relevant is it reasonable and was it proportionate? And the answer is yes. Like, just because you don't agree with it and you wouldn't have done that, that's totally fair and valid. However, that does not disqualify the fact that the way that he acted was absolutely reasonable according to the law. You don't have to like it or agree with it, but it was reasonable.
Well, yeah, I'm not arguing the lawfulness of it, right? Because you can argue the car is a deadly weapon.
I'm not going off of morality, anything. I'm strictly going off of lawfulness. Like, did he behave in a reasonable manner given what was occurring at that time and place and that short brief of time? And the answer is yes, and that's what matters. You know, we can say, hey, just move out the way. You couldn't have done this. You could have done it another way. Use of force is never perfect, but was it reasonable? The answer is yes, and that's what the courts are going to judge him on, and that's all that matters, honestly. None of our opinions matter. What matters is was it reasonable? And I think that's what the law worries about. And that's the only position I'm arguing from. Like, I'm arguing what he did was reasonable. But I do got to go, guys. It was good discussion. It's always good to hear other perspectives. I see your perspective, Dan, for sure. But yeah, I think from a lawful perspective, I think it was reasonable. But yeah, cool. I'll talk to you guys because I really do got to run here.
Fair enough, man. It was good chatting with you, brother.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It always is. I hope people enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries,
thanks
man.
for giving us your expertise as well. I really do value it all the time.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you. I'll see you guys. All right, cool. So, guys, sorry about that. We do have to get going. We're Fresh and Fit here. So I'm going to end the stream. You guys are lucky. We ended up, I didn't even get to, well, we covered a little bit of Greenland, but we didn't get to cover the Saudi economy in a 304. Let me see here with the chats. I don't even think I have time to read these, really. Slayer, thank you so much. Kool-Aid Assassin, I've lost all respect for Sulaiman. I want to tackle as your friend, but to argue PTSD and PEDS here from your job is a low IQ argument. He's just giving another perspective. We also have to keep in mind that his partner's arm was inside the car at the time. Yep. Someone in the chat said, the Dan Bilzerian transition will progressive now. This nigga Dan putting on the tinfoil hat. Well, it's fine. Everyone has a different perspective. I find it funny Dan's talking all this crap, but he's the same guy that got dropped for buds, blah, 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 for safety violations. Look, man, just argue the point. Let's see here. They keep bringing up 5 miles per hour from a car, but the female Baltimore officer you shared on X died from a very similar. Yep, exactly. Bro, I blame the lesbian for telling her to drive away. Next time they want to talk, hit them with this. Well, here's the thing, guys. I'm right. The reason why a lot of them are pissed off is because I'm right. You know, they can sit there and say that it was wrong all day and they didn't like what happened. But, you know, what I'm saying is backed up by law. He acted in a reasonable fashion. So, anyway, yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I do got to get off here. So, guys, come on over to Fresh and Fit. I'm going to go ahead and raid myself here. Come on over. We're going to talk about Money Monday. Let me see here if I can do this real fast. We didn't end up cutting, so you guys got a full-on one. Maybe I'll come back on later tonight. Maybe I'll come on later tonight and give you guys like a night train or some shit. Hold on. Give me 1 second, ninjas. And we are going to have after hours tonight as well for you guys. So that's going to be good. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, guys. Here, I'm going to drop the link as well for you guys. Come on over. Got a banger Money Monday coming for you guys right now. Get your year off right, ninjas. Dropping it in the chat for you guys. Okay. Come on over, ninjas. Come on over. There's the link, guys. Come on over. I'm going to end the stream now. Love you guys. I'll catch you guys here in a little bit. Drop the link in there. I'll see you guys. Peace.